Everyone, old school Pokemon here, back again with the PokeFlipz podcast, episode number 57. Joined by my usual co-host, Catch 'em All Collectibles, Dan. And today, since we couldn't find any special guests, we pulled someone off the street. No, we got Ray joining us. Shining Cards and Collectibles is his new business name. How you both doing today?
Awesome.
Doing very well over here. Pleasure to have you,
Glad
Ray.
for the big introduction.
Yeah.
I got the logo designed specifically for this live. So thank you very much, Nick. I appreciate it.
Oh, of course. Glad to have you on.
I like it. It's similar enough to Shining Legends that I know, but I think it's dissimilar enough that Pokemon won't be knocking on your door with a cease and desist letter. So that's what we like to see.
That's exactly what I was going for. Thank you for pointing it out. But yeah, Shining Legends is my favorite set, so I had to have something tied to it.
Gotta love the Mewtwo. Of
course.
So yeah, yeah, I see James in here reading out your True Collector shirt. We had the premiere for anyone who caught that on the way in. We had some interesting questions in there. But other than that, we have no backlog of questions. Ray, I'm assuming a lot of people probably know who you are. I will say that Ray's Instagram and YouTube are linked in the description below, so be sure to go check those out. But Ray, if you want to give a little introduction for anyone who has not yet had the pleasure of meeting you or seeing your face.
Well, hi, I'm Ray with Shining Cards and Collectibles apparently now. It's still not an official business yet, so please don't steal any of the logos or any of the identifying factors of it. Thank you very much. I would say I've been seriously collecting back in the hobby now for 3 or 4 years. It really started to get far more into it. Basically, when I started with Nick, Dan, and Jake and Charlotte, these guys really helped me kind of bring it all together, really understand what's going on, kind of catapulted what I wanted to do here, which is, I don't know, just interact with everyone in the hobby, collect cards that I like, and hopefully make a little bit of money.
Good stuff.
Is that good enough, Dan?
Very, very good. Retrospecs said he's headed straight to the patent office. So you better get your paperwork expedited through. Mr. Walrus has his LLC forms filed already.
This is a soft launch, guys, all right?
Oh, and Nostalgianomics took the domain on GoDaddy. So you've lost your domain. You cannot be an LLC, and you can't get it trademarked. So you're doing well. I think that's the three-peat right there.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Solid start to your business there, Ray.
I'm ruined.
So as is typical, I see some memes pouring into the chat, but if and when you guys have any actual questions you want us to dive into, feel free to leave those there. Other than that, is there any questions you have for Ray, Nick, I guess? Or I guess one other thing we can advertise too. Nick, if you want to do your little self-promo, I did link what Nick will talk to you about in the description below as well. Nick has a big thing going on tonight.
Yeah, I'm super excited for it. So tonight I will actually be on eBay Live for the very first time. Got in with that super early on, which I am very happy about. So tonight's my first live, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Hope to see some of you guys there. I tried to do a good mixture for this first live to try and see what does well. Most of the eBay lives that I've watched, which I've watched a lot of them over the past couple of weeks to try and get some ideas, see what sells, see what doesn't sell. Most of the lives that I've seen are people running buy it now items and just kind of talking about them. There's a few people who do auctions, but not too many. So my thing with the live is I'm gonna start everything off at $1. I tried to pick 100 cards. that I thought would kind of give like a good range of to what sells. So I got some like anything from like played to near mint WotC hollows, some modern cards, some graded cards. I got some pins on there. So just to kind of get a rough idea on what sells. And then hopefully this first one will go over well, and I'll be able to do these more consistently. Right now I got tonight set up, and then I also have Saturday night set up at I think I did 9 p.m. for Saturday night. But assuming they go well, I'm gonna plan on doing these live streams every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Assuming they go well, which I'm hoping they do. I am very optimistic on eBay Live in the future and in the long term. Right now, it is very, very early for live, but I think once they kind of iron out all their kinks and get everything kind of more fine-tuned, looking similar to Whatnot, I guess. I think eBay Live is going to be absolutely massive, and so I definitely want to get in early with them and do consistent streams with them.
May I ask a question, Nick?
Excited. Go for it.
So I'm assuming this is supposed to be a competitor to Whatnot, but are they allowed to like purchase? I mean, I guess you can just purchase off of your actual eBay at any time, but is there any kind of special that they would get if they're buying off your eBay at the time during the live, or is there anything that like, I don't know, points to your current inventory as well that can help facilitate movement of that rather than the stuff you're bringing to the live at that time?
No, that's one thing I've thought about doing. I didn't do it for tonight's live, but I think I'm going to try and do like make like a coupon for my next live where only people in the live can see that coupon and just say, hey, if you guys are interested, since you're in the live, I'm doing 10-20% off, whatever. For any purchase within the next couple days, stay, whatever. So I think that would be a good idea right there. But yeah, no, it's kind of a weird setup how they do it right now. Right now you can do buy it now listings. It'll pop up as like a banner on the bottom. People click on that and it brings them to your actual buy it now listing in your eBay store. You can also run auctions, like minute-long auctions, where people just have access to those auctions through the live. So that's what I'm going to try and do.
I was just wondering if there was any way that connect the inventory that you currently have to that live auction, but it sounds like I have not looked at one eBay live, so forgive me, but it sounds like they have it to where you can do that, where you're basically importing in your live inventory at that time and be selling it during the live as well as whatever you're auctioning.
Yeah. No, exactly. You can anything listed in your eBay store, you can have on your eBay live, which is a nice feature right there. You don't have to double list stuff. The auctions are a little tricky because you have to create the auction like you normally would, just a regular eBay auction, and then go into the eBay live and make them exclusive for the live. Which I don't like that, because you do have to be quick about it, because I listed all my auctions last night, started everything off at $1, and I had some good cards in there. So the 5 minutes that it took me to actually go to eBay Live, select everything, hit make exclusive, I already had a few bids on those auctions. So I had to cancel those bids, make everything exclusive, and then go from there.
Yeah, there's
That's
definitely
awesome.
it definitely feels like a beta launch type thing. There's going to be some little kinks and bugs to work through, but I believe in eBay, and I'm sure they'll get with a good product at the end. One thing I wanted to highlight, Brad G Card says there better be wheel spins. I'm assuming in some part of the like onboarding for eBay Live there was discussion about bounties and wheel spins and things of that nature, right? Like, as far as I understand, on eBay Live, you have to sell at an actual product. You cannot sell random non-items attached with bounties for wheel spins and grab bags and this kind of thing. Somebody did. I know. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, I was just gonna say, that is one of the nice things. It's not gonna be like Whatnot, where you have all the gambling aspects. No wheel spins, no duck races, no mystery bags, anything like that. It'll just be actual products.
Yeah.
You're hating on mystery bags? What about
Sorry,
mystery auction listings?
Trapper
Hey,
Paul.
I actually used to do really well with those back in the day.
Trapper Paul asked, and it was answered in the comments, but I just want to highlight on screen too for anyone not reading the live chat. So watch his YouTube, or is this a live stream on eBay? It is linked in the description below. So rate the first link in the description is the kind of like the place where you can favorite or bookmark or save whatever they call his stream. It will be watched right through a web browser or through the eBay app. It's tied to his eBay, not to his YouTube. He doesn't use his YouTube anymore. all those empty promises. Do not expect a recap of eBay Live on YouTube either, because he'll probably promise it to us and then he just won't deliver. But I am very bullish on Nick being consistent on eBay Live. I am very bearish on Nick being consistent on his own YouTube. He's very consistent here, though. I will say that.
He's also consistent at communicating with me with like in 4 different social media channels.
Oh, you gotta love that, yeah.
There too.
Texting, Discord, Instagram DMs, maybe the occasional email, maybe a letter in your mailbox too. Gotta love it. So, Nick, I guess another question quick on eBay Live before I get to the other ones. So you're doing 100 items and you're running them for 1 minute each. Do they have, I forget what Whatnot calls it. Do they have sudden death only, where the item will guaranteed end at 1 minute? Or do they have where when you bid in the final 10 seconds, it adds X amount of seconds?
Yeah, so you can switch between them. I do not like the sudden death option, so I always do. They'll add 5 seconds. So if someone bids in the last 10 seconds, they add 5 seconds.
Okay,
and that's how I'm going to do all my auctions.
So at a minimum, it'll be like 2 hours at a minimum then, because 100 minutes, so an hour and 40 minutes, 1 minute per item, plus all the extra time in between items, and then for the adding time at the end. So it'll be 2 to 3 hour stream, I would have to guess.
Yeah, I would imagine it'll be about 2-3 hours, especially for this first one, because I don't know how. Kind of nervous because I don't know. I've tested it out a few times, so I have a good idea, but it's always nerve wracking for me doing something for the first time, especially live. So I imagine it'll take a little bit longer in the beginning. And then I'll do minute auctions for everything, and then I also have some buy it now things. So talk about those. I got some modern packs in there for buy it nows, so maybe open some of those. So we'll see how it goes, but I'm thinking 2-3 hours, maybe a little bit longer if there's a bunch of people in there.
And so, Nathan Tobias asked, does sniping work on this? Sniping would not work, because Nick said that he does not use the sudden death feature where it's 1 minute fixed. He uses the feature where every sub 10 seconds, every bid will increase the time by 10 seconds. Sorry, Ray, to cut you off there. Go ahead with what you were going to say.
Fine. I was going to ask, because I know Whatnot is starting. Well, they have done PSA grading for a while too. Do you know, is eBay going to be doing anything like that, or sending directly to the eBay vault?
I don't know about. I would assume they would do the authenticity and send stuff to the eBay vault, because when you actually go to check out, it's exactly like a regular eBay listing.
Just kind of wondering, because when eBay booted PWCC off, and I don't know, it seems like PWCC has kind of had this slow downhill ever since then. Wondering if a similar pattern happens to Whatnot if eBay Live kind of takes off, because there's far more competitors coming in the market, and eBay
I think
has to be the biggest. I mean, it's
one niche that Whatnot will dominate, though, because eBay won't allow it to happen. I mean, Whatnot will just probably devolve further if eBay takes away the more legitimate business, the more legitimate sellers. Whatnot is cracking down to some extent on wheel spins and duck races and this and that, I hear, but then I still hear of different things going on and bounties and this and that. And so I can only imagine if eBay Live is successful, which I have no reason why it wouldn't be, in a couple years, I just feel like Whatnot will kind of get pinned into that niche of just darkness.
Is Trip still a thing anymore? Is that around?
I believe so.
I haven't
I haven't heard anything about it in a long time. I would assume it is.
I just always like to think of the fallout that happens when like a giant mega corporation like eBay comes into this space, and like Rare Candy's doing the lives, right? Like Vegan Hearts. But like I see that as it's very niche, and it seems to have like a lot of high end stuff. It has obviously lower end stuff too, but I don't know. I see that as a niche thing that can stay around just because of who's behind it. But something like Whatnot that can get a little bit of a bad name, I wonder if that sticks around. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they'll definitely give Whatnot a run for their money. I think it's going to take a long time because, like we were saying, eBay Live is still in beta, and they have a long ways to go before they fine tune everything. But I am super bullish on eBay Live, and I was actually talking to Mr. Walrus last night. I was telling him in a couple of years, I think I'm going to be exclusively selling through eBay Live. Basically anything outside of like bulk cards will just go through Live. That'd be the ideal scenario for me.
Interesting. I highlighted Mr. Walrus's comment. He says, "Damn, Ray gets an intro period. I didn't. Ray liked better confirmed." We gave him an intro, but we gave you you had your episode 4 weeks ago, so we wanted you two to like have leverage over each other so that you could like fuel the arguments with who's liked more based on those. You both getting slight preference one way or another.
And I think you definitely had the better thumbnail, Walrus. I was very proud of that thumbnail I made.
Well, thanks, Nick. I appreciate that. Sometimes people just got to know their place, you know.
Oh man.
I don't know if you guys have anything more on eBay Live. BB did say, I thought this was going to be a CAC recap, which I think I did put in the title. So I don't know if you guys have anything specifically you want to share. I know Ray did a little Collecticon review video. I did a nice hour-long one. Nobody's heard from Nick on the matter, I guess. So Nick, maybe if you want to start with anything you want to share with the class, since you don't seem to want to make a video about it.
Yeah, so Dallas was a couple weeks ago, Cinco de Mayo weekend. Had an absolute awesome time there. Getting to see everyone was a lot of fun. The lunch we did on Friday was an absolute blast. Thanks Peak for putting that together. That was a lot of fun. And then the actual event itself went over well. I was pleasantly surprised by how everything went. For this one, we were way in the back. So I was a little nervous about how everything would go for this one. But it was the first couple of hours, Saturday and Sunday, from like 9 to 11, it was really slow. And then I assume that's because everyone was kind of walking around up front, checking everything out there. But then from like 11 to the end of the day, Saturday, was pretty busy, which was really nice. And same is true for Sunday. Sunday is always slow in the morning. So like 11:30, 12 o'clock, things started picking up for us in the back. But overall, I thought it was a good show. One thing I was surprised by was modern packs not selling. In Orlando, I sold a ton of modern packs, so I brought even more with me to Dallas. And in Dallas, I sold very, very few packs. I sold a good bit of Celebrations. I sold a decent bit of Crown Zenith. I don't think I sold a single Scarlet and Violet pack. So it was a little discouraging there. had to ship all that stuff back. Actually bought some more of Dan's garbage packs to ship back home with me, because he didn't want to ship those back. So those definitely didn't do well. I'm not sure exactly why they didn't do well in Dallas when they did so well in Orlando. I think part of it is because we were, like I said, we were way in the back, and maybe everyone's buying packs right as they're getting in. So I'm gonna try it again for Long Beach and see how it goes, and then kind of go from there on whether or not I should bring as much with me going forward. But then the other funny part for me was, so I had 2.5 tables. On one of the tables, I did 2 cases per table. On one of the tables, I had 1 case full of WotC Hollows, like near mint, light play range. A lot of base jungle, fossil, Team Rocket, but then even some Gym, Neo, E-Reader, few EX cards as well. I thought they were all priced pretty well. And then I had a whole case full of modern alt arts. Everything from the original XY era all the way up through to Silver Tempest. And I completely sold out of all of my alt arts on Saturday. And in that same time frame, I probably sold like 5, maybe 6 of my WotC Hollows. So modern is definitely the play for collecticons. At least for me. I sold through a lot more modern than I did like WotC EX stuff. How about you guys?
And you want to go, or you want me to go?
I did a whole hour video. Go check out my channel if you want to hear my thoughts on it. People have heard enough if they cared to.
Yeah, I would replicate a lot of what Nick said in terms of it was just strange being in the front for most of the cons that I've been to so far, and then sitting kind of like in the middle towards the back. You can almost experience the wave as it's occurring. But yeah, 11 to the end of the day was always just really busy. Unfortunately, my part of the section was the part of the section that all the whales wanted to do their deals on. So I had usually about a good 45 minutes to an hour out of each day to where, I'll just say some of the bigger deals decided to happen. And, I'm not going to ask those guys to not necessarily do business on my table because whatever, I guess, I don't know. I guess I'm not pushy enough like that, but yeah, so I had a little bit of a slowdown during those times, but overall, I would actually, although I did sell quite a bit and had a lot of the pack issues like Nick, I would definitely say it was more of a buyer's con. I purchased a lot of good stuff for some decent prices, so I can't complain.
I gotta say thank you to Amplitude. Amplitude dropped 50 gifted subs, so keep an eye on the live chat. He's drawing out all the lurkers. All the lurkers are actively being exposed. Check all those usernames.
I will also say too, it sucks. I heard the trade night on Saturday night was really, really good, but when I got back to the hotel, it was like monsooning hard. Like it was really, really bad outside. I live in Florida, and I know some pretty bad rain events, but I couldn't even get over to the trade night because the rain was coming sideways, and it's not like I'm calling an Uber to go a block and a half. So if I would have went outside, I would have just been absolutely soaked if I would have made it to the first trade night. And I heard that first trade night was actually pretty good. The second one, where Nick, thank you for showing up too. I appreciate it. The second night was pretty good for me too. I was able to sell a little bit more. I try to stay for the trade nights. Although I will usually chill out a little bit, I still try to keep the business mindset and try to still move product at those trade nights. And not being able to do it on Saturday kind of sucked, but Sunday made up for it a little bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like you, Ray, Dallas was definitely a collecticon for buying. Sales were good. It was a little bit slower than Orlando for me, but overall sales were really good. But I also bought a lot there. So by the time I actually came home from Dallas, I really didn't have much much money from the weekend sales because I pretty much spent everything I made buying a few collections, which I was happy about because I think I'll do fairly well with them. But it is always kind of nice coming home with a big wad of cash too.
Yeah,
and
fortunately, I didn't run into a lot of the I know what I have people wanting 140% for their cards.
Yeah,
so
those are always fun.
It was good. Sorry to cut you off, Nick.
Oh, you're good. You're good. The only other thing I was gonna say was the trade night Saturday was it was a cool idea. I hope they continue to do those kinds of things because it was pretty fun. But they had like a panel like talking about NFTs and all this stupid stuff the entire time. They need to cut that out and just make it like a regular trade night type of thing. Even if they have to charge more to have food and a bar and like all the prizes and stuff, that's fine, but do not do another panel again. That was just super annoying. Nobody was listening to them, and it was just way too much noise.
So some people are out there saying
happy for not showing up.
Some people are saying they didn't like the paywall. Nick says raise the paywall. Keep out all the riffraff. Raise the paywall higher. I like it. So yeah, Collecticon. I guess one thing that you guys touched on a little bit. I left Sunday at like 4 p.m. I had to head to the airport, and again, I talked about my whole weekend recap in my video there. What was the trade night Sunday night though? Sounds like you guys alluded to a trade night Sunday night. Was there something formal or like an informal lobby type thing?
You want to explain it, Nick, or me?
Okay, you can take this one if you want.
So, shout out Master Set Games. He was the dude who opened the FPOs. But typically, we try to always have some sort of organic, tell people about it trade night, wherever we can find a good spot. I've always found that at those collecticons, the more organic trade nights always seem to just be better. As Nick alluded to, I don't want to be sold NFTs when I'm just trying to, talk some Pokemon or maybe just hang out and have a few beers. So we actually went back to the Hilton, and it was like in the lobby area of the Hilton, Nick. Is that, I guess that's where it was. I don't know where it was at in terms of the Saturday night trade night, but it was just kind of like in the lobby area, and there was probably 30 people hanging out there. I couldn't even tell you everybody who was there, but I would say, the crew that's usually with Master Set Games, Nick, decided to show up, and a lot of the guys who were in our section that were there as well, just hanging out and having a good time. It was a more compact, a little bit more chill, and then whatever stragglers that were kind of around the area would just kind of come in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one thing I mentioned in my video, because like my voice was half shot Saturday and then it was completely gone Sunday, as is always the case. I need to stop going out to like the city bars. The one we went to Saturday night was awesome because it was just quiet and they had food, but the trade night was nice. The panel was annoying, but they didn't have the volume cranked up like Collecticon cranks up Vanilla Ice's volume. It wasn't like to that tier. So when you're able to just hang out with a bunch of people, have some beers, look at some cards, buy, sell, trade, whatever, that's more my scene. That's where I need to be. I need to stop Ubering around, walking around to like the loud city club type bars. Because those just destroy my voice. Having to stand 3 feet away from people and scream at each other for hours on end. That's not as enjoyable.
Well, that's what we call Collecticon Dan. I mean,
Yeah.
What are you talking about? You're a party animal when you go out there. And if you not having a voice by Sunday is a thing, then what are we doing?
Anything else to add on Collecticon before I go into? We have quite a backlog of questions now, so we're good to just start going here through chat. Or is that pretty much it for Collecticon?
Yeah, I think we're good.
That's pretty much it, I think.
Okay, so Retro out here trying to invest in cards. What is the most undervalued card in a PSA 10? None of that collector BS, but what is actually way too cheap? almost universally, I could say there's really no like hidden. There's not much hidden out there these days. Pokemon overall is quite expensive, in my opinion, relative to historically what Pokemon has cost, relative to a lot of other things. I know Retro is going to absolutely love this one, but history matters. Supply matters. There are many earlier lower pop cards in PSA 10 selling for the same or less than what ultra modern cards are with thousands of pops. That is where there is relative value. I'm not buying those and investing them, waiting for them to go up. I'm not waiting for the market to like become more rational, because the way that the market, one, the market might never become more rational. Two, the market becoming more rational could be the ultra modern prices tanking and the vintage prices staying flat or going slightly down as well, right? Like I think one issue that a lot of people do, and one mistake a lot of people make, is this is cheaper than A is cheaper than B, so A needs to go up. They both just might need to go down, right? A just might need to go down less. So this is not investment advice. I'm not investing in any of these things. But if I have to choose something that's undervalued in PSA 10, I would say historic cards. Like some Gold Star PSA 10s, it's crazy how low they are relative to some ultra modern cards with thousands of pops. And these Gold Star cards have double-digit pops. Same thing for some WotC First Edition Holos. Same thing for some Japanese, more obscure promos. And I'm not talking about like the Rainbow Coat Pikachu and things like that, mass-printed modern ones. But there's a lot of like more niche stuff that's older. How about you guys? Anything on your radar being undervalued?
Go ahead.
Typical Dan answer there.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking the whole time.
I gave a bunch of like actual concrete examples.
You didn't give one good example.
PSA 10 Gold Stars, PSA 10 WotC First Edition. Those are specific examples. How are they not? I'm not going to call out like one specific card.
I don't know.
Let's hear what you got.
Answer might surprise you, but I'm not sure about PSA 10s.
Oh, here we go.
PSA 10s, I'm
Nick
not
answer.
sure about, but no, for me, what I'm gonna start buying now is I've slowly started buying them, but I do want to buy even more of them. PSA 9 Alt Art Evolutions, the ones that came in the Evolution collection boxes. All of those cards are like $20-$30 a piece. You can pick them up at auction for $20 to $30 a piece, which to me sounds like a really good deal. They have fantastic art. They're all evolutions, really popular Pokemon. So I think long term those are going to do well. So that's what I would buy.
So your most undervalued your most undervalued PSA 10s are PSA 9s. I like it.
Yes.
This question is totally derailed now. Sorry, Retro.
Not only did he answer it in that way, but after trashing on my actual answer.
Yeah. Yeah, he just totally jacked it off himself.
So what do you think, Ray? Do you think like maybe like BGS 9.5 Digimon cards or something?
Well, I was gonna point to some CGC cards, but now that you guys are pulling my arm behind my back and actually wanting, someone has to give a real answer here. I will actually give some answers.
Good answer.
So PSA 10 cards to me that would be undervalued. The very first one that always pops in my mind, and you almost always see it whenever it pops up for sale, is the Alakazam EX from Fates Collide. Lugia's on it, Alakazam's on it, as well as Umbreon's on it, and it seems like people always forget about that card for whatever reason. But it also happens to be in the era where XY, the print quality is just crap. So, I don't know the pops or even the prices off the top of my head, but it's just what I think is an amazing card that would be considered undervalued right now. A lot of PSA 10 Japanese WotC cards, I think, are undervalued for their price. Just I would just say regular hollows, because I think that those took a large hit. But I don't want to call out one single one, but you see some of the prices on them, and you're like, what the hell's going on? And then past that, I would say any XY full arts, specifically Japanese XY full arts, the secret rares are pretty damn hard to find. Some of them are really low pop. If people are pop chasers, I'm typically not that, but the Japanese print quality at that time is also crap too. So it's actually pretty hard to get a 10 in those Japanese secret full arts. So there you go. There's a few actual answers.
So
because PSA 10 gold stars
Hollow
weren't.
and all of XY.
Japanese
Answer, Ray.
Japanese PSA 10s.
So any Japanese.
At least I answered the damn question, Nick.
You guys are shitting on my answer over here. Oh man.
You know what? The most undervalued PSA 10 of all time is the S&P 500. Is what I'll say. Let's see. Grimer Collect says over under on the number of pins sold during the live. Nick, you told me last night. I think you actually do have some pin lots queued up for your eBay live, correct?
I do. Yes. I'll be curious to know how those do. We'll see. We'll see what happens to those. It'd be nice if they sold like hotcakes. Yeah. I kind of doubt it though.
They sell like crap cakes.
So Professor Birch has a question going back to Collecticon. When bringing singles for trade or sale to Collecticon, do you guys recommend binders with price tags or card saver ones with price tags? I think Ray is like the binder master of the three of us, so I'll let you take this one first, Ray.
So, binder master is a strong word, and I really appreciate it, Dan. Thank you for the respect. But price everything, guys. I had 3 binders that I brought to Dallas with the intention that they were all going to be sold. Every card had a price on it. If it didn't have a price, it was $1. I had a $1 binder, but price everything. And there's a reason for it, and I explained it in one of my YouTube videos, but you could be working a large deal. For example, Cloud or Travis comes up to buy you out, and it takes sometimes a good 20, 30 minutes to get through a buyout like that. People will be looking for your binder and handing you cash for a card they're buying while you're doing another deal. So it's the conveyance of the purchase that you allow. If they have to keep asking you what the price is, you're slowing down your possible sales as well as they're giving you money faster just by looking at it. Because a lot of times people aren't really negotiating on binders. I'm also lucky, not to throw it out there, but I also have binder buyers at the end of every Collecticon that just comes up to the table and say, all right, how much do you want for all of them that you have remaining? And we kind of have an agreement where allow me the whole convention to sell at my price, and then when you come to me at the end of the con and you want to buy out my binders, we'll work on a deal for you to kind of take the rest of them. So there's no plan in which I'm taking any of those binders home. I just want the cash, and so always make it to where it's easier for them to give you money. That's the way I look at it.
What about you, Nick?
Yeah, that's a good answer.
Thanks, Nick.
Anytime. So Professor Birch, if you're not vending and you're just kind of walking around with the binder, if you're just looking to like trade like 1 or 2 cards and not offload everything together, then I would say a binder. That way people can kind of flip through it, pick what they want, and then go from there. But if you're looking to just kind of bulk out a ton of cards, sell them all to one person, definitely the just penny sleeves, card saver ones, whatever, just to make it easier to look through the cards really quickly, get an idea on the condition and all that stuff. Another thing though is whether you go the binder route or the card saver 1 route, use penny sleeves. Don't use the ETB sleeves where you can't see the back of the card. That gets very annoying.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Wallace just said Professor Birch is vending. So if you're vending, go for the binder. I would recommend that route.
Yeah, I think binder's like the most ubiquitous form of storage. Binders don't like intimidate or like binder's just natural. Like a lot of people, it might blow your mind, but a lot of people don't touch or deal with graded cards at all. And a lot of people you can flip through 18 cards at a time. If you want people to be able to quickly look at condition, I saw some people with binders where they didn't go front back. They just did 9 per page only so that you could actually look at the fronts, look at the backs without having to take the card out. So if you, again, not using an ETB sleeve where they can't see the back, if you have cards just inside of penny sleeves and you put 9 per page using those clear pages, I know a lot of that's more of like a 3-ring binder type thing, but there are some binders that don't have rings that do have the see-through kind of thing. More of the premium binders though have the black backing, so you wouldn't be able to see the backs without taking them out. That's where one of the less premium binders without the black backing might actually be beneficial, because I did see a few people doing that at Dallas, having it where you could see the backs without taking them out. Other than that, I primarily do like packs and slabs, so that's why I wanted Ray to go first, because I think he covered it pretty well.
Can I also just add something to this? If you guys haven't learned anything from like the theft videos that came up from Fort Worth, don't put high price singles in your binders. You know, I try to stick to like, if it's $20 and above as a single, it's just going to go in a case. And I have usually a few higher end raw cards in my case for sale too. So I try to, I mean, if I have like a couple $25 cards in my binder, that's fine. I don't really care. But like, you know, be smart about it, because it seems like theft is picking up at the collecticons, unfortunately. Don't give them the opportunity. I think that guy in that one video said it was like thousands of dollars in the binder. I tallied my most expensive binder because I actually add them all up, and I have a sticker on the back of my binder of the total price of all the cards together. So I know if someone wants to buy me out, this is the total price of every card here. You know, it shouldn't be like $5,000. That's kind of crazy, and you guys need to put some of that stuff in your case. I think my highest price binder was like $1,500. So yeah, make sure you guys are, you know, using your brains a little bit.
And if you have one table with one binder, it's a lot different situation than if you have 5 tables with 17 binders or something. I mean, depending on how good of an eye you can keep on it. One thing that this can touch on too is like, are you an actual business? Are you fully insured? I mean, business insurance, if you have a good policy, will actually travel with you, and it can actually cover things like this. Not wanting to get down that whole rabbit hole, but just some things to consider to some extent.
Yeah, sorry.
Couple more quick hitters on the eBay Live. Pee-wees wants to know, is eBay Live open to international users, or is it just US? I'm not sure of that.
I'm not sure of that either. I believe I can't see why it wouldn't be open to anyone. Because like I said, once you actually purchase something, it's exactly like an eBay so listing.
It's probably the same as your normal settings. It's probably through the eBay International Shipping Program, I would guess.
Yeah, that's what I would assume. I'm not sure on that though.
I would hope that eBay is very obvious about that in the auction setting. If and when an international buyer is bidding on your stuff, that shipping would be like expensive. I don't know how that looks on the user's end, but hopefully they're very like forthcoming with that. Hopefully, that's one thing Nick and I talked about like offline a little bit. I wonder, I mean, auctions historically have not an amazing track record for getting like payment. I think James mentions 7% non-payers, which is quite a few. I mean, 1 out of 14 listings going unpaid. That's pretty time consuming, just a lot of wasted time and effort and energy. And will that apply? Will it be better? Will it be worse? One thing that Whatnot had going for it that I don't believe eBay Live will have going for it, at least not today, maybe down the line it will. Whatnot would automatically charge upon completion of the auction. And eBay Live basically puts the item into your cart. It's as if you clicked buy it now on an item, but did not yet pay. Or it's as if you won an auction, but did not yet pay. So you still do have to manually travel to the cart and then make payment. Hopefully the cancel rate's not high.
Yeah, that is one thing I'm a little worried about. But they have said they are going to change that at some point and make it actually so that people have to pay once they actually win, which I do think that is important for these lives, especially for like pack breakers who are opening packs for people.
Weed'll ask you, are you doing rip and ships? Because that's highly important on Whatnot, especially when you're ripping like vintage packs. I've seen streams before where someone buys a pack for 500. Oh, the payment failed. They either rerun it or they wait a minute for the person to redo. I mean, if you're streaming on eBay Live selling packs, even if they're modern, I mean, it adds up over time, right? Like, you don't want a scenario where you rip non-hollows and then the people just decide not to pay or something of that nature. Are you doing any packs to be ripped? Or you mentioned you will have packs in the buy it now. Is that solely to be shipped sealed, or will they have the option to have it ripped live?
No, yeah, I'll give people the option to open it. It's all going to be modern packs, so hopefully nobody buys it and doesn't pay. But if they do, it won't be the biggest deal. Because it's just going to be like Celebrations, Crown Zenith, Scarlet Violet, stuff like that. But those will be in the buy it now section, and for my normal eBay listings, I have immediate payment required, and so I think that's how it'll work for those listings. But again, I'm not sure on that. But I definitely do want to get into opening packs for people, especially when we get to Paldea Evolved. I definitely want to do a stream that Friday and just have it be all openings.
That'll be cool.
I'm liking your Polyrath Grail. I don't have my Jumpluff Grail with me.
Yeah.
I think it's in the trash somewhere.
That thing should be by your side every minute of every day. Aiden M wants to know, would you fulfill a buyer's request after purchase to delay shipping of an item until 3 weeks after your dispatch time? How would that affect your seller protection? So I will say, first off the bat, that is a bad buyer. If you have any kind of a special request like that, you do that before you buy. So what I would likely do is I would say, you've bought and paid, I'm shipping. I have metrics I have to hit. Like, there's even a possibility, depending on what timing they bought and paid, I might have already printed, packed, and shipped before I review my eBay messages. I try to generally review my messages before I do shipments, but yeah, that's just a bad buyer, and it's a bad situation to begin with. If someone was upfront about it, pending the situation, if it's like a $20 thing, I would say wait to buy until you're ready to receive the item. It's kind of like those people that like try to click buy it now on an item on Monday. Hey, I'll pay Friday when I get my paycheck, whatever. It's like, buy when you're ready. Buy one when you have the money, and two when you're ready to receive shipment. These kind of requests are really annoying. That said, higher end stuff, I have had people like, hey, I really want to lock this down so nobody else buys it. I'm going to fully pay you up front through some bank wire or irreversible method, and then you can ship on this certain day, this certain way, whatever. I'm more up to it for that. But like, if you're talking about a $50 slab on eBay, I just don't want to deal with any of that. What about you guys? Am I just being an a-hole? Is this something that you guys would entertain?
I'm like you, Dan. I don't like it. But occasionally people do that, and I will honor it, I guess, and do ship out later. What I do is because I don't like seeing the red number, basically a late shipment, in my awaiting shipment tab. So what I'll do is I'll print out a label for them and just update the date to the date that I'm actually mailing it, and just put it next to where I have my bin for all my packages. And then whenever that date comes, I'll just throw it in there and bring it to the post office with me. But But yeah, you should definitely ask sellers before buying whether you can do that or not, because it does affect your seller rating. Like you'll get knocked down for
not meeting your handling
verified
time
in time or whatever that one is.
Yep. And for us, that's not a huge deal because of our volume. But for a smaller seller,
yeah,
that could be the difference between top rated and not top rated. Like that is such an a ridiculous ask from a buyer. Just to be frank, just buy it when you're ready to pay and ready to receive. What do you think, Ray?
Yeah, I mean, you just nailed it. Earlier, when I was like a smaller, even I'm still a small eBay seller, I probably would have looked at the request and maybe tried to honor it and basically do it like what Nick was doing, just mark it down for later and send it. But now, I'm sorry, but it's just buy it, pay it, let's move on. There's just too much. I'm sure you guys experience. There's just too much of. I mean, I guess in this case, if they are buying it and just asking to ship it later, that's fine. They paid you the money. But there's so much flaking that happens sometimes. And if I have to keep my product off the market for 3 weeks just to help you, then you turn around and say, "Oh, sorry, I can't actually afford it anyhow." I'm not going to be a very happy person.
You know what happens?
Especially if it's a high value item.
During that 3 weeks, their muffler goes, they run over a nail and they need a new set of tires. Like something happens in life. They could barely afford the card to begin with in many instances probably. And I forgot my kids needs diapers. I need to cancel it like 2.5 weeks later. And now you probably can't refund your label anymore because it's so late. Now you've already taken the ding. It's just like, it's such an entitled request to make from the buying side, honestly, especially after you've held them hostage. Because part of the underlying implication is like, I'm the customer, I'm always right, and if you don't entertain this request from me, I'm going to leave you a negative feedback. Like, so there's that underlying, like, especially being that it's on eBay.
Well, think about it from this way, too. If it's a new released item, like, the likelihood of the value of that thing going down 3 weeks later, it also just can screw you that way, too, especially if they don't pay or back out of it. Like, you're now double screwed, and I'm good.
Cancel, block, relist. That's probably gonna save you, like, on 1,000 random instances of this happening. That's probably gonna be like the winner long term, honestly.
You go block too?
This is an entitled buyer that
100%.
This is an entitled buyer that you do not want. This is an entitled buyer that you do not want. I promise you. 20 years of selling on eBay almost. You don't want this.
Okay. Hey, I understand. I didn't know we were getting to that level.
Oh, I wouldn't like.
You gotta up your blocked buyer list numbers there.
One thing that I'm constantly, not constantly, but one thing that I've been asked multiple times, and like running the Pokenomics Discord and all that, I've been asked to, hey, let's generate a block list. Let's all share our block user list. I won't go so far as like, I'm going to block you personally, but I'm not going to blackball you in the entire market. I'm not comfortable sharing with anyone my block list because I have a pretty like light trigger finger for making the block done. And some people might not agree that this person in this instance is due to be blocked. So I will block them personally, but I'm not going to like name and shame them to the world. I guess that's where my stance falls on it.
Dan's blocking ugly people next. I don't like the way you look. Just throw you on the list.
Mr. Walrus says, I messaged Dan saying hi and was blocked. I mean, disproportionately, good buyers, you do not hear from ever. You see a waiting shipment, you print the label, you ship, you get a positive feedback, or you don't get a positive feedback sometime down the line. I get 95% of my buyers are that, and those are the best buyers. If you hear from them, if you see a message, disproportionately, there's more likely going to be an issue with that transaction. Even if they're just Mr. Waller saying hi. I stand by that for sure.
Damn.
Let's see. G1T Landon says, question for old school. Do you always run 7-day auctions? Have you ever auctioned 1, 3, 5? I guess we'll include 10-day as well.
10-day, yes, on like high-end cards. Like recent or semi-recently, maybe a month or so ago, maybe longer at this point. I forget, but I auctioned a PSA 10 full art Mario and Luigi Pikachu, and then a BGS 6.5 first edition base Charizard. And for those auctions, stuff like that, those high-end cards that I want to auction, I'll always do 10-day, just to kind of increase that visibility, get more eyes on the auction, all of that stuff. For those, I start them on Thursday, and then they'll run a week and 3 days, so that way they're ending on Sunday. I like to keep all of my auctions ending on Sunday for consignment stuff, because I don't know if it's still true, but it used to be Sunday was the best day to end an auction. So I've always stuck with that. But as far as like the 1, 3, 5 day auctions, I've never done that for Pokemon stuff. I have done that for silver bars and stuff like that. I'll do like 3-day auctions, just because there's it's almost like a set price for that type of stuff, where your 1 ounce silver bar is going to end at basically this exact price. So in that case, you don't need as many eyes on the auction, because it's almost a guarantee that your silver is going to end at such and such a price. So you don't need as many eyes on that auction. Same is true with like really new stuff. Like I know like back I haven't seen it like as common anymore. But like back when like the new iPhone would come out or something like that, 1-day auctions for that would be a good idea, just because there's a lot of people looking for that new phone or whatever it is, and your listing's already going to get a lot of eyes on it already. So you really don't need to worry about that extra time to get eyes on your listing. Plus, it's kind of a race against the clock to. As more and more hit the market, pricing is going to go down. So you want to kind of get on the market first and sell it as quickly as possible. So that's what a 1-day auction or 1 to 3 day auction would benefit you. But yeah, for the most part, I think 7-day auctions are the way to go. You're not saving any money by doing 1, 3, or 5-day auctions. It's the same price. So there's not many cases where it's super beneficial in my opinion. How about you guys?
What do you think, Ray?
What are auctions? It's my first question.
I like it.
Because the thing is like, I'm going to decide now. I have asked Nick about this before, and I'm going to throw it out there because this was, I think, a private question that I asked him before. But he had told me before he liked to throw auctions up because it can get some views on your eBay and stuff, and I do appreciate and understand that point of view. But if you're going to risk getting absolutely destroyed on an item, I'd rather just try to see if I can find a vehicle like outside of eBay auction and just be like, I don't, whether it's like Travis or Cloud, and if I have, I don't know, let's say I have 10 slabs I know I'm willing to auction. Maybe I can just go to some sort of a buyer like that and be like, hey, can you give me 60% of last sold or something like that? Because then at least I know I'm getting something, and they're more likely to buy that too. And I know I won't get 10% of last solds with a really, really poor auction. That's just how I view it. There's almost no need for it. Sorry, also ZNG.
Not sorry.
There's almost no need for it when you can have mass buyers like that on those large streaming services that are willing to pay you a percentage and not get totally hosed. Now, let me ask you. Can I ask a question on top of that? Like, you guys have been telling it for a long time. When would be a good time to auction for an item like, I don't know, like that's a very low pop or something, like a trophy that no one knows the value on? Like when is a good time to auction? And you know what, Dan, I want you to start because I know you don't like auctions very much either. Well, when would be a time that Dan says, I want to auction?
I was just gonna say, like Hermit Man 1 mentioned, this should be an episode in King of Collectibles. For anyone who watched the Golden Touch King of Collectibles, whatever it was called on Netflix, a lot of those items are like one-off historic pieces. They are things that, generally speaking, you're like setting new all-time highs. Auctions have a good way of setting new all-time highs in a way that private sales via Buy It Now sometimes can't. Because say I have an item, say I have a very historic item, last sale was $1 million and it was 10 years ago. People will look at that and they'll say like, oh, I'll pay you $2 million, I'll pay you $2.5 million, you've made a handsome profit for your 10 years. But when you make it go to auction, if there's several people who want it with very deep pockets, it's now or never, right? It's a one-of-a-kind item. It's not going to come up on auction next week, next month even, maybe not the next decade. So you really give a sense of urgency to all those buyers when it's like one of those Jackie Robinson jerseys, when it's the Dream Team's jerseys signed and all that with the provenance. And so Nick also mentioned a really good point too. If you're dealing with an item that just has an intrinsic value, silver, gold, they have an intrinsic melt value. They transact high liquidity at that given spot price. The worst items to auction are many Pokemon cards. The worst type of items to auction are ones where you have 50 Buy It Nows listed at all times, items that have zero intrinsic value, items that are just like things that can be achieved any other time by a few clicks of a button. So because what functionally happens is you basically have a ceiling set by whatever the low list Buy It Now is. And I know, and before somebody says, James starts pumping his whole auction thing, he lists like the one out of one or two items in his 1,500 or 1,000 item block for the week will go over a low list Buy It Now. And then he'll post it in Discord. And it's like, okay, let's look at the other 999. But yeah, like generally speaking, as a whole, Pokemon cards are just bad to auction because they're so mass produced. There's so many of them. Like some of the items, and it seems like Golden, Heritage, PWCC, a lot of those companies do a really bad job for the consigners, in my opinion. But like those trophy Pikachus, those are more an item that, if done well and advertised well, those are the types of items you auction. Historic, very scarce, hard to find pieces. I would say the Illustrator, but it seems like those are popping up on auctions every other month. So maybe not so much those, but yeah, something actually historic, something actually rare and scarce, something the market's not seen in a long time, which disproportionately excludes all but very, very few Pokemon cards. What do you think, Nick? Slander.
Yeah, I think you answered that one pretty well. I like auctioning stuff that I for myself. Like I do consignment auctions, which is really nice because obviously I want to get the highest price possible to keep consigners happy. But at the end of the day, to me, I'm making money whether it sells for 99 cents or $100.
Yes.
Obviously, I'm making more money.
Yes,
Damn grifter.
I love it.
But for my own stuff, I do auctions on stuff that I don't want to list Buy It Now. So like raw, anything raw that's below near mint condition. So like WotC Hollows, EX cards, modern cards, whatever. Anything EX condition and below, I'll send to a 99-cent auction and just let it go for whatever it goes for. Just to kind of clear through that inventory. Those cards, they'll sell occasionally through Buy It Now, but they take longer to sell. So I'll just clear them out through auction, usually get a decent price point for them. And then in addition to that, you're also building your feedback, building your sales history, building your following. You might have that person buy a card and then buy something through your Buy It Now listings. So I like auctions, but for something super high end, like you said, Ray, like a one-off type thing, in that case, I think I would be nervous doing like my own eBay auction. In that case, I think I would want to like consign it through like Heritage. Probably go through Heritage just because I like them the most. But that'd be like something like super high end.
There is absolutely merit to high-end auction houses auctioning items. If I ever had a $1 million item, it would very unlikely be going through the Catch 'em All Collectibles eBay account. It would be a deal with one of these auction houses where I negotiate very, very low rates, or it would be a private high sale. I just, interestingly enough, in Pokemon, and it's kind of feeds into the absurdity, some of the absurdity we have going on here. But a PSA 10 Celebrations Charizard, I would auction that all day long. Because, like, so many people are searching that. So many people are just seeking it out. A PSA 10 Moonbreon, I would feel comfortable auctioning that. Almost like more of these ubiquitous, even though there are a ton of buy it now examples, that's the kind of card that just, for whatever reason, the market has insatiable demand for, and they're out there. Auctions and buy it nows have a very tight range on a lot of those like high pop ultra modern cards. Whereas the difference between like vintage cards, when I'm comping vintage cards, 50% of the time, let's say half the time, when I'm comping a vintage card to list, like a PSA 9 WotC First Edition Holo, PSA 10 WotC First Edition Holo, the last sold is usually one of Nick's consignment auctions, Rusty's consignment auctions, or James consignment auctions, at least half the time. And there are many times where low list buy it now is like $200, last auction is like $120, I'm listing for like 180, and boom, it's selling at like 50% above last sold. Like that happens all the time. So there's a lot of items I would not auction in Pokemon, and a lot of them get auctioned all the time. And a lot of them, some of them do fine, but a lot of them get wrecked too. A lot of them get real wrecked.
Well, you guys can look forward to tuning in tonight to the old school Pokemon eBay live stream, where you'll be able to get at auction a PSA 8 Jungle Mankey Unlimited. So go ahead and make sure.
What's like your highest end thing? What's the highest end item? What's the premier item of the auction block, Nick?
I do have I got some base set Charizards. I don't even know where I put everything. Oh, I can kind of.
Hold on. Before you show it, how many CGC slabs are in it?
There's only 5 CGC slabs.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
All right.
So these are. I cannot fan through this. This is all backwards. So these are the raw cards that I'm doing. We got a Lugia in there, a couple Charizards, some modern.
Hey, so that actually looks pretty good.
So nice little variety of stuff. Arcanine in there, and then good mixture of PSA cards. Highest is probably I got a PSA 10 Giratina V-Star going up. That's probably the most expensive card. Like 150 to $200, somewhere around there. But I tried to get a good little variety of stuff to see what does well for this one. This one I'm planning on. I'm hoping to do well, but I'm thinking it'll be I'm thinking it probably will be kind of a stuff will go for cheap is what I'm thinking. But at least for this one, I'm not too concerned about that because I'll have a good idea on what to do for next time.
Can I get a GIF of Nick fanning the Pokemon cards open like Scarface fanning money? I think I need that. I never knew I needed that in my life until now, but just fanning through all those cards, just look like a total pimp. Can we get that, please?
If the Green Shiz is out there listening, he's the one who delivered on the overlay of the Bug's Life caterpillar.
one of our best emotes, if I do say so myself.
Nathan Tobias asks, can you combine overseas? If international buyers are allowed to bid, Nick, I pray for you. I worry what your cancellation rate might be. Good luck tonight.
Yeah, no, eBay needs to step up their game with the I don't even know what it's called anymore. The old GSP, whatever
eBay
it's
International
called now.
Shipping, EIS.
Yeah. Because right now, people used to be able to add stuff to their cart, like add multiple items to their cart, and shipping would automatically they would get some type of combined shipping. I don't know what it was, but they would get some type of combined shipping. Now it's not happening whatsoever. I don't know if you've noticed that, Dan or Ray, but for me it's not happening whatsoever. I've talked to eBay about this, and they say it's because of the new program. They're still trying to get that completely rolled out. So at some point it'll be back to how it was. Hopefully that happens sooner rather than later, because it is very, very annoying getting all of those messages asking about combined shipping, and then, oh, I don't get combined shipping. Can you end these 10 listings and create one listing for me to purchase, and all of that stuff.
Well, Nick, to answer your question, in order for me to get those type of messages, I actually have to get sales, and my eBay has been slower than dog crap right now. So no, I cannot say that I've received any of those messages recently. So yeah, if anybody wants to go buy some stuff, go ahead and check out my eBay. I'm just saying. You can send me messages. I don't care. I'll combine shipping, please.
We got so far behind in chat that I just jumped to the bottom and I lost like 10 or 15 minutes worth of chat. So sorry for that. But Java wants to know if you're going to do eBay Live consignments.
That I'm gonna it's gonna be a few weeks of my own stuff to see how it goes, and all of that. But that is if eBay Live is as good as I think it's going to be, that is going to be something that comes.
Well, touching on what you said earlier, I mean, if it goes poorly, you might exclusively do consignments, right? You won't want to sell your own stuff through there, but you make your margin either way, right? I mean, that's what you were saying earlier.
That's right.
that is true.
So if in a few weeks Nick really starts pumping eBay Live consignments and you see that he's not doing his own streams, you know that there's some deals to be had on eBay Live.
Go check out Grift School Pokemon.
Yeah.
Live.
Hey, I'm making my 20% either way. Like, I'll auction anything you want. I mean, that's Nick and James over there. I do buy it now consignments. I try to do what's best for me and my seller, and my consigners. So.
Damn.
I like to give my consigners paydays every once in a while, and not just have their items sit on eBay forever.
Hey, I got consigners who send bad stuff, and that stuff sits. I mean, I've sent some back, but I've got consigners who send juice and payouts every week.
The shade that's being thrown in this live right now is making me uncomfortable.
You gotta love it.
Space.
You gotta love it.
This is why we have you on, Ray, to block us from fighting with each other.
To totally throwing your own businesses under the bus.
Here's Mr. Walrus with a little bit of shade in his question. Question that will get skipped. Well, haha, Mr. Walrus, it didn't get skipped. What are underused tools eBay offers that are beneficial that most of us are likely not using? I don't know if you need to be a store, but promoted listings is one. A lot of people, and anytime you're talking about like paying for anything, like people just get like butthurt and don't like it. And from having sold on eBay for 20 years, part of me like fundamentally doesn't like that you have to pay to win in certain instances. I forget if I talked about this on PokeFlipz or in a live or in a video, but I talked about this somewhere. But it's always been a thing. Like when you go to the grocery store, people pay for end cap space, like Coca-Cola, Pepsi. They bid on end cap space of the soda aisle to see who gets the placement at the end, because you're more likely to sell a 12-pack of soda when it's at the end cap versus halfway down the soda aisle. So paying for consumers' eyes, paying for proximity to consumers has always been a thing. And more lately, it's becoming more of a thing on eBay. They have promoted listings where you pay like a certain percentage upon sale. They have a new one that's in beta where you actually pay per click instead of paying per successful sale. Sorry, I'm just looking at chat because I saw you guys smiling. Other than that, there are a lot of like very advanced metrics. Again, this might only be relevant for stores. This might not come up if you're an individual user without a store, but there's a lot of like very advanced metrics on click-through rates and sell-through rates and things of that nature that I think overall, I don't know how much people utilize them. I know for me, for my first 19 years selling on eBay, I way underused them personally. and then coupon codes and promotions where I have one promotion. If you buy 3 slabs, you get $5 off for every subsequent slab because I'm saving on shipping, so I pass that along to the buyer. Mr. Walrus, 2004. I rounded up from 19 to 20. I'm sorry. I did round up. Oh,
he made sure to call you out on it.
What do you guys think?
Well, what I would say to that is go check out Weedle Warehouse's YouTube video, how to increase your sales on eBay, and just go look at all the options he provides you. Basically, it's an overview of what everything Dan just said, but he actually goes into the details. I'm sure Dan and Nick probably well, maybe not Nick, but Dan probably has a YouTube video on it going over some of the different options as well. But I know Weedle recently released one not too long ago. It's pretty good. I actually followed it and used a little bit of the steps in it as well.
I gotta go check that out. I didn't even see that one.
It's going into some of the details of the promoted listings and things like that. But he breaks it down, and Weedle's just awesome. So go give him a subscribe too.
I think I'm subscribed to him. But yeah, Dan with the promoted listings, that's a really good one. And then we've talked about it, but just playing around with the different eBay marketing tools, like running sales, running multi-quantity discounts, running if you buy 3 items, save X dollars or X percent or however you want to set it up. I recently tried like email marketing. You can send emails out to everyone who's bought from you in the past 90 days or people who follow your eBay store. Send them a coupon for 10-20% off, whatever. And that did decently well. It's sent out like 10,000 emails. So I thought it was going to do really good, but I maybe got like 5 or 10 sales out of it, but it was better than nothing. It's only you're only having to do a few clicks of a button to send out all those emails. So I would say it's definitely worth it, but definitely play around with all of those different options and see what works best for you. That's something I didn't do for a very, very, very long time, and just recently started doing it, and it's been working out well. Another thing, I don't know about underused or people not knowing about it, but sending offers to buyers. You can send people like people who have looked at your item or are watching your item. You can send all those people offers on your cards, and I usually do really well when I send offers out to people. So I would definitely recommend doing that regularly, maybe like depending on like how much you have listed, every other week or once a month or however you want to do it. I usually I'm very sporadic with that because it does work really well, but at the same time it increases my amount of orders I have to ship out by a lot. So I try and do that every other week. Sometimes it's only once a month, depending on how I feel.
I just want to add one more thing to that, and it's very, very simple. But go check out review your traffic under the performance menu in eBay, and just go quickly take a look and turn on promoted listings for like a week or so and just see the differences of the impressions and page views you get from things that are promoted compared to when they're not. And you'll see why promoted listings are very much worth it. Even if you're going to do the minimum promotion, just go ahead and take a quick look at the traffic that you're getting. You know, like I said, give it a week, and you'll once you see the numbers like kind of jump off the screen of how many more people are looking at your product, you'll start doing a lot more promoted listings. Even if it's the classic raise your price but increase your promoted listing type maneuver.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I'll add is not every item is as desirable to promote. Like if you have a very expensive pop one thing that's very niche, very obscure, if someone is only going to buy that if they know what it is and if they seek it out specifically. Like, and you have no competition on eBay. I would not promote that listing as much as I would promote like a PSA 10 Ultra Modern Charizard, of which there's hundreds of them. Because at the end of the day, like you don't even have to be lowest price if you're promoting your listing. Many times you can sell at a higher sell-through rate, being 5-10% above the lowest price with a 3 to 5% promotion, something along those lines. Garen M says, I ran out of slabs to post a while ago, have been posting singles 5 per day to keep the algorithm as happy as I can. How would you advise handling limited inventory while keeping up on new listings? Buy more, or lower your 5 per day down to like 2 per day or something, 3 per day. I mean, I think a lot of people get really hung up on, does it need to be 5, does it need to be 10, does it need to be delist, relist, does it need to be fresh listings? Wherever you're at, like you just got to you got to set your number that you can find like an equilibrium at. And I think some people overthink this to some extent. I wouldn't intentionally go out and buy things that are crap that you're not going to make your margin on just to feed the algorithm. You don't want to feed the algorithm with junk with low sell-through rates, and you also don't want to just run yourself too like cash poor. You don't want to run your liquidity too low, buying inventory just to arbitrarily like feed this algorithm. At the end of the day, if you're not listing every single day because you don't have the inventory to maintain it, but when you do list, you're listing things that sell quickly. Like eBay, the algorithm, the almighty algorithm, sees all those things and sees all those metrics. And I think listing 2 items every other day and having a sell-through rate of 20 is better than listing 20 a day with a sell-through rate of 0.3. But that's all like guesswork, honestly. Like, to be honest, I don't know the inner mechanisms of the algorithm. But anything to add on that?
I'm good.
No, I think you covered that one pretty well.
I mean, honestly, always try to be buying. That's what I would add. Always try to be buying, and always trying to be buying at a good value, and then you won't run out of inventory.
Here we go. Jonathan Perry has a question. When do you recommend someone gets their eBay business registered? I'm new and still very small, but I feel like I get caught up in not having it legally registered. The first thing I'll say on this, depending on what county, what state you're in, air quotes registered means different things. By default, when you start doing business for profit, you are acting under a sole proprietorship. So without doing anything, you've functionally registered yourself as a sole proprietorship per terms of like various IRS code, which I can't quote specifically to you, but that's the way a sole proprietorship works. I think a lot of people like, they use these terms like registered and business license and this and that, not knowing what any of it means. Like where I am, a certificate of authority is what you get for sales tax exemption, and a DBA is what I used to do like a doing business as a sole proprietor. Everywhere you're from, though, it's going to be something different. The biggest thing I'll stress, if your intent is profit, if you are going to be owing taxes on this at the end of the year, step 0 is getting a separate bank account and a separate credit card. It could be a personal bank account. It could be a personal credit card. Like some people think you got to get a business bank account, a business credit card. A lot of this can be done through personal bank accounts, personal credit cards, just keeping it isolated, keeping it separate, so that at the end of the year, when you pull out you get your 1099 and you try to reconcile everything and you try to give stuff to your accountant, you're not like swimming through. That was donuts I picked up to bring into work, and that was gas for my personal car, and that was versus like, oh, there's the Pokemon card I bought, there's the printer I bought, the toner for doing packing slips, and keep it all separate if you're trying to make money here. That's step 0. Step 1, step 1A, 2A maybe is like getting a certificate of authority, getting like things like that. But step 0 really is isolating, in my opinion. Ernesto's always jumping. I've just got to say, Ernesto has got to be the fittest guy. Those calves have got to be like, man, that man is always jumping. Oh.
No, that's you mentioned the biggest thing is to separate your personal from your business accounts. I went for a very long time without doing that, and that just makes life so much easier.
Oh, me too. Yeah, that's from experience. From both of us.
Yeah.
That's from experience.
Yep. But the other thing is do it as soon as possible. Get your whatever they call it in your state, where you don't have to pay sales tax on resale purchases and business purchases and stuff like that. Definitely get that as soon as possible, because before you get that, you're paying extra money that you really don't have to pay. And to do that whole process really doesn't take much time and effort. It's at least for Massachusetts, it's a really straightforward process, and it doesn't take much time whatsoever. How about you, Ray? Any advice to give people now that your business is already failing? You didn't properly set it up.
Considering I haven't taken any of the advice that's all been given here today, and I just had to deal with taxes, doing exactly what you guys presented as the problem, I would say 100% take the advice of what these two are telling you right now. I still have to do it myself, but just do it.
Do as I say, not as I do. But I will say I'm busting on Ernesto in chat. He can take it. He's my thumbnail guy. I love Ernesto. But Ernesto, you're saying you're going to jump because we always say separate accounts. We always say this. We always say that. We always say it. And people who watch every video don't do it. It's like, what are you guys doing? You guys are here asking questions. That is one of the most important. I need to make a video soon on my YouTube. The 3 things you have to do to make money in Pokemon. And it's going to be like separate accounts. It's going to be all the boring stuff. But that's like the foundational stuff that saves you so much money, so much time, so much headaches. The fact that people are still paying sales tax when their sole intent is the profit. The fact that people are buying their groceries and then buying Quaxley cards and then buying like packing supplies all on one credit card. That's insane. Like, what are you guys doing? Please listen to us.
If we were playing PokeFlipz bingo, someone just got a bingo because Dan just said he's going to make another video on something. Yeah. So there it is, fellas. We can pack it up. Let's go home. We don't need to.
I'm gonna start jumping with all this advice that we give, like actual business advice, actual like having been there, done that, made the mistakes. We made the mistakes, so you don't have to, and yet you don't heed the advice. Like, please.
May I present one more option, Dan? Wasn't it Collector Cash who made that how to make money in Pokemon? Like
the course, yeah.
The course. You know, I'm just saying, gotta collect them all course.com or something like that. No, catch them all collectibles course.com. 1995, 3 easy payments.
There we go.
At the end of the day, we could lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
We can get Nick to do some B-roll where he's like the grayscale guy, where he's just having a tough time selling things on eBay, and then we have Dan come in with the full color Billy May style. 1995. Come by my course, please. Thank you.
There we go.
You're welcome.
Make up all kinds of quotes about how you hang out with Logan Paul all the time.
I think James actually bought the course and then did a video memeing on it, right? Didn't he?
That was a great video that he did.
It was so good. Thank you, James, for that.
And then no thank you. We withdraw the thanks for having delisted that video as well as your entire backlog. One thing I've asked James, I'm like, please, James, create a 99-cent membership, take our money, and make all those videos instead of unlisted, make a member exclusive. That is a brilliant business idea. I would pay the 99-cent membership, and then I could go back and I could relive those beautiful, beautiful memes.
Yep. That is a good idea. I like it.
You're welcome, James. But he still won't take that advice. I mean, that is solid advice. That is solid financial advice, and he's not going to take it.
That is good advice, actually. I would go back and watch some of his videos.
99 cents a month.
Z's Flips. Y'all remember Z's Flips?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I loved those videos.
That account still has like twice or 3 times as many subscribers as I do. And he just abandoned it, just cast it aside. Like, man. Must be nice.
Imagine being so good that you can just split your brand and still just crush it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Dan, beating you once isn't enough. I'm going to beat you twice. I'm going to double up, triple up your account, and then I'm going to throw it away because that's how meaningless 8,000 subs is to me.
he doesn't even care. He just leaves it open there. It doesn't even matter to him anymore.
The ultimate disrespect. 8,000 subs. Is that a lot of subs to you? I throw accounts like that away. Oh man.
Oh man.
Good stuff. Leaf Green Goblin says, what card price facts surprise you? Example, for the price of a PSA 8 Rayquaza Gold Star, you could buy every English Rayquaza in graded near mint condition.
I did not know that.
I did not know that either. There's not like a ton of Rayquaza cards out there, so after hearing it, like it sounds pretty. I'm sure it's true. It sounds right, unless you get like crazy and Rayquaza's in the background of some art of some like semi-trophy card or whatever. Well, he does say English. I was gonna say because there is that one lottery promo Rayquaza that's really expensive, but that's Japanese. You could probably come up with a lot of facts about PSA 10 population of 5,000 ultra modern card, and it's worth more than like a pop 35 25-year-old card, like kind of what I touched on earlier, what PSA 10 cards are undervalued. I think you could come up with a lot of facts about historic WotC first edition holo cards being valued at like, I know it's the biggest meme alive, but like a PSA 10 first edition muck. How many are there? Like a few hundred, couple hundred? I don't even know exactly. That's like a $350 card tops, maybe 300. You could buy 10% or 5% of the world's population of PSA 10 first edition muck for the cost of like one waifu alt art PSA 10 with pop 3,000 or something. That to me is like a pretty crazy card fact.
Do you have anything for that one, Ray?
I would say one thing that always surprises me is it's going to be Charizard related, and it's the base set Charizard and how many times it's been reprinted, how many times it's been graded, and how much value it still has. I almost always call it the currency of Pokemon, but in my own dumbass, not even really taking advantage of it the last time that it was printed, which was, I believe, the Celebrations Charizard was the last time base set was printed, right?
Yeah.
I was really, and Dan's been making plays on him, of course, like crazy now because he's the genius and everything always works out for him. But the card that I really wanted to make a play on and I didn't do it, I got talked off of it. You know who you are, who did it?
Call him out.
Was the gold? Nope, I won't do it
Name
anymore.
and shame.
I did it once, I won't do it again. The gold Japanese version of that, the promo. I actually I personally think it's the best version of that card ever released. It's just such a good looking card, and there's tons of them out there, and they still sell for a ton of money, and it's just crazy to me. And people want to complain about Moonbreon, by the way. And how many of those Charizards are out there? It's just, I realize Moonbreon is newer, but we're still getting that same art that's modernized. Yeah.
Yeah, going along with like what you said, Ray, is like the Sword and Shield 50, the stained glass bird promos and 10s. Pricing on those cards surprises me considering the population of those cards at PSA. I know the birds are still like $50-$60 on a 10, and then the Charizard's still like $30-$40 on a 10. And population on those cards is absolutely massive. So though that kind of surprises me there, but can't really think of anything else.
We're still like 40 minutes behind, but we're catching up a little bit. Lord Pokesmoke says, question, I just sold my last Tag Team GX box. Why did I not buy more a few years ago?
Good question. I'm wondering the same thing.
I don't want to talk this one's really tough for me.
Don't get stuck in the rear
funny
view.
When you're, I know, but it's just funny when you're in the moment, and you look at some things and you're like, at that time when it's cheaper. I mean, I I actually looked at an eBay listing that I purchased. It was last year, and it was something like I probably bought 20 to 30 of the tag team just raw off eBay, and they were like $3 each. And at the time, getting made fun of, like, why are you? But no one wants those tag teams. They're terrible. I'm like, they're created by the artist is Mitsuhiro Arita, and they're awesome cards. And now they've all gone up, and I don't have any. So yes, I'm also asking the same question. Why didn't I buy more?
It's a tough one. Don't get hung up on it is all I can say. The amount of time and energy you put into longing for days past. There are things you could buy today that will be 10x in a few years. There are always opportunities out there.
Well, there's two versions of it. Like, for example, Evolution's going crazy. I still, to this day, don't give a crap about Evolutions. I don't particularly like the set. I remember seeing it in the Targets like crazy and just laughing at it, and it shot up. There's no portion of me that says, man, I wish I got more Evolutions. I'm okay not getting it. CP6, I wish I would have gotten some, but you know, whatever. However, because I actually liked a lot of those Sun and Moon sets, especially the ones that had some of the tag teams, that's where it hurts a little bit more, because it's like I kind of knew and figured this was all going to take off, but I got talked out of it sometimes in my own mind. Whereas the opposite happened, where Evolutions went crazy. I'm like, big whoop, I don't care. It's the stuff that I have a little bit of personal attachment to that I go, damn, I probably should have known better.
Hermit Man 1 asks, how many Pop 1s have you gentlemen been responsible for? Do you keep track? It's not something I've ever kept track of. I've definitely Pop 1 some cards. I was Pop 1ing more cards back in the day. Definitely some like e-reader reverse hollows. I don't think I ever Pop 1 like a first edition WotC PSA 10. Most of those were already Pop 1 by the time I got to them. But I remember like Pop 3ing the Yanma from Neo Discovery. That was a rare card that I put it up for high buy it now or best offer for a little while. There were a few like higher end people throwing out offers, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna auction this card. I auctioned it and I got more. I want to say it was either 3,200 or 2,300. Back when that was a lot of money. Like these days, you say that number and it's like, oh, who cares? Like that's not even that was a lot of money back then, and it was higher than any individual offer I had gotten. That's one of those things where it's like, if you advertise it well and you make people give people that that sense of urgency where they know that if they don't win it, it's gone. But yeah, I don't have like a running list of how many cards I've Pop 1'd. If your sole goal was Pop 1ing cards, especially if you're gonna get silly, Nick has a funny anecdote he can share from Pop 1 sequential cert. I'm sure he'll talk about the Dallas Collecticon. I think it was you who talked about that recently, but if you're opening up Pop 1 to including like PSA 1 Pop 1, PSA 4.5 Pop 1, like those silly things, I've probably Pop 1'd a lot of stuff. Pop 1 should only be utilized when none are higher. Pop 1 should only be like the highest grade. When people start talking about Pop 1 with respect to mid and low grades, that's really, really silly in my opinion. But
yeah.
What do you guys think on that? Do you guys have like a list of every Pop 1 you've ever done? I don't even check. Like,
I don't really check because I don't really care much about Pops. But I do have one, and it's just because I happened to click the link when PSA was sending back the cards, and it takes you to the population report. The only one that I know of would be from the Japanese. It's a Groudon deck. And in that deck comes 2 Bulbasaurs, an Ivysaur, 2 Charmanders, and a Charmeleon, as well as the Cracked Ice Groudon EX. The Bulbasaur was a PSA 10. It was a Pop 1. I put it on eBay the day it got home, and it sold for $300. So it was like within an hour of me putting the listing up to it, instant sold. So yeah, that one Pop 1 Bulbasaur. It's the I think it's the Bulbasaur that comes from the like VHS tapes. It's like it almost looks like it's colored like with crayon, but it was a Pop 1 from that deck.
I don't know of any. I don't think I've rated any Pop ones, at least that I know of. Maybe with my the packs that I sent off to be graded. Maybe one of those PSA 7s was the Pop one. But yeah, aside from that, I don't keep track of pop reports whatsoever. And I don't think I've graded anything that would be Pop 1 like worthy of mentioning. But the story Dan was saying, it wasn't Dallas, but it was Orlando. So Walrus, I think Walrus was there with me. We had a guy come up to the table saying, are you buying cards? I said, I'll take a look at what you got. And he started hyping up these sequential cert number Pop 1 cards that he had. And then he mentioned that they were the Japanese stamp box promos. And I'm thinking to myself, how the heck does he have Pop 1s of these? Because I knew PSA, CGC, BGS all had 10 black labels perfect. So wondering to myself, how the heck does he have Pop 1s of these? So he finally pulls them out, and they're PSA 4 copies. That's how they were Pop 1s. But this guy was hyping them up like they were something super special, and they were going to be worth a ton of money. And he was pretty disappointed when I said I'm just going to pass on those.
I hope it's I think a meme.
Might have ruined his day.
I hope it's a meme, but oftentimes I think it's not. The whole PSA 1.
I don't think this was a meme. I think
whole
he was
low
dead
pop.
serious.
Like Basic. Shout out to Basic Trainer. Doesn't he have the 5 WB movie promos? 5 consecutive in PSA 5. And
yep.
I think he's self-aware. I hope I'm not like accidentally throwing shade at Basic. I think he's mostly self-aware about the fact that like nobody, like if he cares about it and he values it, thinks it's cool, it's a novelty. It's an interesting novelty. Like that PSA 4 collector. I'm not trying to yuck yums or anything like that, but overall, like the market generally is not going to care about things like that. And it's great if someone can find value in what they have, some obscure little oddity. I mean, a lot of collectors, like we got a little something funny about us, right? Like these weird things that we enjoy and whatever. And but at the end of the day, like 5 consecutive PSA 5s, Pop 1 consecutive cert PSA 4s, that's not really a thing. Like
the one sale that I always laugh about is I had a PSA 1. What is it? The Secret Charizard from EX Dragon, I think it is, the one where he's like flying down. It's an Arita art, but I'll never forget. I almost sold it raw, and Josh, the old card shop, was like, "No, just grade it, dude. The PSA 1 sell like crazy. I bet it'd be worth at least $350, $400." I was like, "All right, I'm gonna hold you to it." So I went and graded it. I got a PSA 1 because it was beat the hell. Put it on eBay and it sold for $500. Like within like an hour, and I think I paid like $18 for the card just as like a what if that. It wasn't much at all. And I just remember being like, is this how easy this shit is? Because this is the stupidest thing I've ever done in my life. Why like, I guess I never thanked him. Thanks for that, Josh. Shout out, buddy. I never thank you for telling me to upgrade that, because that made me a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, not to blow up a whole man's business, a man's whole business model, but over at Selling Bags on eBay, he has a lot of PSA 1s for your purchasing pleasure, for your collecting pleasure. PSA 1s, liquidity wise and price wise, will often outsell like a PSA 7 or 8. It is crazy. It is not something I'm pursuing, but that play could get blown up very, very quickly. And I mean, he's talked about it. It's a thing at shows though. I had a PSA 1 Lugia, Crystal Lugia. I did not make it a PSA 1. I had it from years ago. Oh no, I had it pretty recently. I got it in a collection. It was PSA 1 worthy. I graded it. I sold it for like $400 or $500. Cards that are that high end, you're not going to sell like, you're not going to take a Charizard Gold Star in PSA 1 and sell it for a PSA 8 Charizard Gold Star price. The times where you're able to sell it for like 7, 8 price is more like the lower end cards. But yeah, like that's a whole thing there. That's I see BB in chat said, what did he say? PSA 7 pop 1, none lower. Instead of like PSA 9 pop 1, none higher. PSA 7 pop 1, none lower. Yeah, that's a good one.
I actually have a group of shining cards and collectibles employees in the back beating the shit out of the cards constantly, so I can send them a grade and get PSA 1s.
There you go.
You know, I got a whole warehouse now. Yeah, it's nice.
That's the play. Here we go. Nice one from Mr. Walrus. Question for the Honorable Ray. What are your goals for YouTube?
Well, my goals for YouTube would be kind of like how you started it, Dan. You know, because that's why I started to begin with, was kind of document what I'm doing. And as I get time, as I get better communicating, learning about this, because I don't want to talk about anything that I'm going to sound like an ass about. I already joke enough and make myself look stupid enough as it is. I don't need to just be completely wrong about something. So as of right now, it's just kind of documenting what I'm doing, showing people, like, for example, before Collecticon, after Collecticon, so that people can kind of see, you know, how it's going, and hopefully someone can learn from me. Other than that, it might turn into lives. It might turn into, you know, I don't know, but sure, it could.
Nick, what are your goals for your YouTube?
There was a reason why he wasn't asked.
Nick's goals for his YouTube are to post one video every quarter, recapping the hits from his 1,000 packs, and just getting like 500 subscribers and 20,000 views. And he's gonna outgrow my YouTube with one video per quarter. How sad is that? Oh man.
Those videos do incredibly well. It's absolutely insane to look at the metrics of those videos where I go over all the hits from the packs that I open. They get way more views than any other videos on my channel, and the subscriber count goes up absolutely insane. When I was semi-consistently uploading videos onto YouTube, I would always be like between 60 and 80 subscribers every 28 days is what they show. And with these modern videos that I'm uploading once a quarter, my subscriber count will jump up to like 250 over the past 28 days. It's insanity how many people are watching these new set videos.
May I ask a quick question for Nick? This is actually a serious question, but is it possible, and Dan, you would know this, is it possible for you to somehow record your eBay live auctions and throw them to YouTube?
I do know that.
You can, all of the eBay lives are actually, they're saved, so you can actually go back and watch any of the eBay lives that have already happened. So that is something that I do want to do.
That would be some actually really good content.
As of right now, I
was thinking of doing like Instagram, because Instagram is my new thing. YouTube is dead to me now.
Check with them, Nick, though. I asked them, and they do not want that. I asked them if you could cross stream for one, like if you could be live on eBay and YouTube at the same time, directing people to your eBay, and they said no. I don't think.
Yeah. I was thinking though more so just doing like some different things that happen, like during the eBay live. I don't know if that'd be allowed.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not positive, but I know you can't dual stream. I don't know exactly why, but all I know is you cannot do that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wouldn't say dual stream. Give the live feed I would understand that. Give the live feed to eBay, because I would understand why they wouldn't want you dual streaming, because you're kind of, some people may just watch on YouTube and not actually be buying something. Like, I get that. But if the stream already happened and things were already purchased, like, why can't you just throw it to YouTube so someone has content to watch to see how a stream went? Because people would absolutely watch it.
Yeah, that's a good point too. I'm gonna have to email them about that.
Yeah, I'd run it by them, but that would be Nick uploading to YouTube. And Ray, you're asking a whole lot there.
Well, this is why I'm giving him the idea, Daniel, is because this would be the easiest thing for him in the world to upload.
We've given him many ideas. He's made many promises, and he's fallen flat on every single one of them the past couple weeks at least. Ray, you're just setting him up for failure. I'm trying to step in here and save Nick from himself. Nick, do not say you promise that you'll do that.
Here, Nick.
Nick, do not promise anything.
Let's go.
Take that word out of your vocabulary, you monster.
Man, Dan's over here just giving up on me.
I'm trying to not make you be a liar. I mean, I don't want that to continue into I don't want you to devolve into every word that comes out of your mouth as a lie. I'm just trying to save you from yourself. Intervention time.
Instead of artists will art, it'll be liars will lie, and it's Nick's face.
Yeah. I'm gonna make it my short tomorrow is just gonna be like the last 20 promises Nick made, and then it'll kick over. Here's the quote of Nick saying, "I promise I'll make that video." Here's the Discord message, and then his YouTube last posted whatever it was.
Oh man.
Pokey Martin says, "How much are you guys putting into Paldea Evolved?" I'm taking my entire allocation. I think my allocations are stepped up pretty high, so it's like a low 5-figure purchase, but I'm not going like any deeper, or like I'm not like declining any allocation. I'm not a big spoiler guy, so I have no idea what's coming in it really. I hear a little bit here and there, I see a little bit here and there, but I'm just taking my allocation and business as usual.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Taking my whole allocation. I'll still set my 2 cases aside, but aside from that, I won't do anything extra with Paldea Evolved. Doesn't look like it's going to be a very good set. Looks like it's going to be a pretty big dud.
So I don't typically mess with too much modern right at launch. I did, however, get some of the Pokemon Center ETBs just because those seem to have that extra value of that promo, the Scarlet Violet promo that's going to be, even though those are now graded like crazy. I'm more looking at and continuing to monitor when V-Star is going to maybe be in the 55 to 60 range. I want to be buying this stuff as it's kind of no longer going to be printed. So any of the modern stuff, I'm not doing the quick flips at $5 a box. So yeah, I'm waiting for V-Star to come down just a little bit more. That's what I'm waiting for.
It's almost there. I'm waiting for that one too. Definitely want to pick up some of those boxes.
So we got to Ernesto's question. Go ahead, Ray.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think it's on like its 3rd printing, Nick, and it's already at like 65 a box, or it's going to be on its 3rd printing, and I'm pretty sure it will be printed at least one more time, and that will be the time to do it.
Sounds good. I'll listen to you. If you're wrong, it's all your fault.
Actually, need to just take a step back. Ponga just confirmed reprints are done. Word is out in Japan. Prices ticking back up. So, you heard it here live first. Thanks, Ponga. Go buy some quickly.
Uh-oh. Ray giving financial advice. So we just went to Ernesto's question. Can you guys talk about the hobby? Technically, it was a question. I told him, like, hey, feel free to ask questions if you want to. I don't know what he wants me to say here. This is PokeFlipz, not PokeCollects, is what I said in the chat. We're flippers talking about flipping.
Oh, I could mention a cool collector story.
Here we go.
I forgot to mention one of the coolest purchases I made in Dallas. I actually purchased Swolepoke. Jeremy was selling an inverted stamp Dragonite promo, CGC 8.5, which I was able to pick that up off of him to add on into the personal collection. Super excited about that purchase. I don't know if I can keep saying that I don't like error cards now that I have more than my No Damage Ninetales, but that's another card that I really, really wanted for my collection, because I remember going to see that movie in the movie theaters when it came out back in the early 2000s. It must have been, yeah, Pokemon the movie 2000. But when I went to go see that movie, I got the Dragonite promo when we went to go see that movie. So I've always loved that Dragonite artwork. It's always been one of my favorite Dragonite cards, probably because of that connection. And so that was one card that I really, really wanted for my collection for a very long time. And they don't pop up very often. And when there's been a few copies that have popped up, but they've all been like really low grades. And I was hoping to get a 9, but then Jeremy had the CGC 8.5, which it's one of the few cards that I'll say is 8.5 worthy, because it's definitely better than an 8, but I don't think it's quite a 9. So I do agree with the 8.5 grade, but I was really happy to pick that one up.
So Nick, in the chat, they pointed out, and this is absolutely true, that you and I, hopefully now I can start talking about the hobby as well. I do enjoy error cards sometimes, but you see how Dan is no longer with us because
I'm back.
We're not talking anything. Oh God.
I just stopped for that comment.
Let's go back to eBay. No, I'm just kidding. So it's funny that you mentioned error cards. Nick, do you? I'm like you. Do you like the error cards that are like where the print quality is just shit, where it's just like completely cut off or something? Because I see people in like the misprint Facebook, people go nuts over it. It's like if you see the little black dot, and people will spend a fortune for it, and I'm just like, quality, and it stinks because I'm talking about the card that you just purchased. The quality control was a mess up on that stamp that wasn't actually like. I don't know if I would necessarily love that error card myself, but it's not just a misprint in terms of it's just off center. I think those are just dumb errors. But yeah, in terms of errors that I like the double war turtle error, where actual errors on a card that were picked up pretty quickly. But in terms of talking about the hobby, I just picked up a card that I really like. I picked up the Web Gengar with the Masaki artwork on it, the Japanese.
Ooh, there we go. That's a cool card.
I'm pretty excited about getting that and grading it. So, in terms of talking about anything else in the hobby, geez, I don't know. That's just sent off pretty much all of my pickups from Dallas Fort Worth to PSA too. So I'm really excited. It's going to be a fun submission.
Yeah, thanks Ernie for the question.
I got to get another submission out to PSA soon.
Thanks Ernie for the question, because you gave me time to use the restroom and grab another drink. Now that we're through that phase, we can get back to PokeFlipz over here. No, I collecting wise, I mean, I collect a lot of the things behind me. I collect a lot of non-card stuff that isn't insanely priced. Like if I value it at the same as the market or more than the market, I'll buy it. There's very few pieces of cardboard that I value more than the market, to be honest. Most of them are just as memes or ones that I open personally, like Ray with his nice Polyrath.
By the way, can I just stop? I absolutely love that you have Magic 30 behind you. I mean, every time that might be my favorite thing that you have behind you. I realize it's a slight meme, but
I like the product.
I have not purchased any. I like the product so much. I have not purchased it. I need to buy some. I just don't. I don't have the coffers. I don't have the Catch 'em All collectibles coffers to.
Well, I heard it was going to be worth 0. So I mean, you might as well just like go buy it for $0, right? Because it was just garbage and no one wants it and blah blah blah.
It's such a good. It's so awesome. I love it. I need to get some.
I hope
jealous of
Pokemon
you.
does something like that. I mean, not just a meme, not just me being. I think it's a cool thing. And Pokemon does do
what
it.
are those boxes worth?
They were sold for 1,000. I think they go for a little more than that now. Not like substantially more, but I believe they're above it on the secondary market.
Okay.
The biggest issue with it, Nick, was that they printed reserved list cards in it that weren't supposed to be reprinted. And of course, players who want cheap items, even though you can't even use those cards in the game, are all up in arms about it because they can't afford it. It's probably a really hot take, and I'm going to get murdered by MTG folks now, but I mean, none of the cards are really playable, so it's literally just a collectibles item, but it was released at a very, very high rate. I mean, it was ridiculously overpriced. I actually thought a little bit, but still.
At the end of the day, like,
it doesn't mean it's not cool.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, it's all very expensive. This is all like mass printed cardboard and ink and paper. Like, this stuff costs them nothing to produce. The profit margins on all this is obscene. So to say like $160 is fine, but 1,000 isn't, that's so arbitrary. Like, oh, it's only 4 packs of X amount of cards each. Like, it's all so arbitrary and ridiculous. If you don't like it, don't buy it and move on. Like, you don't have to love everything they put out. It's not a game piece you need to use to play the game. So it's just entitlement. That's what it is at the end of the day. Like, I love Quaxley. If and when the day comes that they come out with a life-size Quaxley, bigger than my kids, as big as me, for $1,000, I would love to have it. I want every and all things Quaxley, but I'm not gonna cry about it if it's like, oh, I don't want to spend $1,000 on a big plush. Then I just won't, or I will. It's like I will or I won't. Buy or buy, and that's it. Like,
it's a game, Dan. All right, it's a game. All right, we need to support the players.
It's all just silly. I went through that whole, I have a couple videos and I opened one and I'm a monster and I'm giving them $1,000 so that they continue to make the game that all those players love. Like, you're welcome, players, for me buying and supporting the company that produces your game so that they will continue to exist into the future. You're welcome.
By the way, quick question for Dan. I think I actually saw a Black Lotus. I forget the grade, but it was graded from the 30th set. I think I want to say the dude was selling it for $9K. Over or under, is that actually worth the $9K? Because I saw it and I was like, that seems underpriced, $9K for a Black Lotus from the 30th set. But I don't know, because I just feel like
I'm not a buyer.
How many Black Lotuses are in that? I mean,
the math was done. I know Tavis King. I've talked about him before. I actually met him in Orlando last year, but really cool guy, very knowledgeable. Think of like the Rusty / Charlie Herlocker / Gem Mint Pokemon, like so much knowledge, so much information about the history of Magic. Like Tavis King, very underrated YouTube channel. I think he's somewhere in the vicinity of like me, like a few thousand subscribers. Just a wealth of knowledge. And he did a bunch of like spreadsheet videos extrapolating. There was all the memes from Rudy about how many were made and how many weren't sold and this and that. And a lot of it's speculation. So I don't think there's firm numbers on any of it, but there are generally accepted numbers, I think. And I could be wrong here, but I think the Retro Frame Lotus Magic 30th has a lower print quantity than the Alpha Lotus. Yeah, and again, obviously the Alpha Lotus has history and it has attrition and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, I'm just talking raw print numbers. And whether you care about that or not, like, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I feel like some had sold for 5 figures, but I could be wrong. I'm not positive. But at the end of the day, like anything else, it's what a buyer and seller are willing to agree upon. That's if I ever had one, if I open another, I have 3, so I have 2 left. I opened one. If I open another one and I pull one, I would certainly grade it and list it for sale. I would need to think into that a lot more before I were to put a price on it, but I don't know exactly where I would be.
Yeah, and you made my point. It's just there's not many out there, and sooner or later, once the hate kind of goes away, which it will, that car is going to be worth a lot of money. it's just going to be worth a lot of money just because it says Black Lotus.
Yeah. G1T Landon wants to know, were/are you into Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yeah, I answered them in chat. I'm not into Yu-Gi-Oh at
Oh,
all.
sorry.
I don't really know much about it. Yep. Although I just did grade the Dark Magician Adidas promo for my friend. He got that shoe drop. If you guys aren't familiar, came with a pair of Adidas Yu-Gi-Oh branded Adidas shoes, as well as a promo card, and it graded a 10. And I think it's worth like $1,000 right now.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Ernesto has a proposal to change the podcast name to eBay 101 for walruses. Pongo wants to know what other card games you're into. I know you're into others because I've taken some of the plays you've put out in the paywall Discord.
Well, Ponga, as you know, Flesh and Blood. Go shout out Flesh and Blood right now, or go buy Flesh and Blood right now, because it is currently on the rise like crazy. Since people are apparently leaving Magic in droves. They've been going over to Flesh and Blood, which has great art. But I also collect Final Fantasy, Fab, and a little bit of MetaZoo. It's not a ton, but I do like MetaZoo. You can't say that too much, and I probably just ruined my YouTube channel from ever growing, because between the Magic the Gathering 30th haters as well as the MetaZoo haters, I'm gonna have a constant block on my YouTube channel ever growing. But yeah, I mean, I've said this before, and the last time I said it was on Jake's channel. If I like the card, no matter what game it is, I usually will grab it. I don't really care. I just like trading cards. So if it's in Yu-Gi-Oh and I find something that's actually really cool that I like, I might pick it up. I don't really try to just have one niche. I try to kind of be all over. So.
Noiser PXE says, question, a lot of new sports/MTG collectors go for the Charizards. With the recent uptick of full art and Pokemon printing more Charizard sets, UPC Brilliant Stars are modern Zards bags. Everything is a bag at the wrong price. Everything has a price though, too. So it's all about the price you're paying.
Yeah, I don't think Charizard will ever be a bag. If you're getting it through like me, how I open packs and grade cards and all that, sell them that way. I always love Charizards and sets. It's always a good play, and I think it always will be. Especially with the amount of people who do like Charizard Master sets, whether that be 10s, 9s, raw copies, whatever.
And also just look at the Charizard that you're collecting. For example, everybody wants to always kind of shit on the UPC Charizard because it comes in every, UPC, obviously. But, there are sets in Japan that those come in, that those are set cards that are actually a lot harder to get. V-Star Universe having the Sleeping Charizard, as well as the Charizard battling the Mewtwo. I forget where the VMAX is in Japan off the top of my head, but those are harder pulls and should be worth more money in the Japanese side of things. So just throwing it out there.
Amplitude has a formal request. Can we get a camera on Nick's bulk sorter robot on these lives, so when we get tired of hearing all the BS, we can just watch the robot sort? Thanks. Don't forget, this is the same Amplitude that dropped 50 gifted subs earlier, so
I guess we're gonna have to do it then. I actually haven't ran my card sorter for, it's been about a week. I'm getting down towards the end of cards that I want to like completely sort through and get listed. So I think going forward, it's going to become more so useful just for the newest sets that come out. But even still, then it is a great purchase.
Well, and then random
It has
collections.
saved me a good bit of time.
I actually have one. I need to double check. I need to double check when I bought it, but I have a deposit down on one, and I should have one in the coming weeks or months. So if Nick doesn't come through with the camera, I do have Snorlax cam that I haven't been using much lately that I could turn into robot cam. So yeah, maybe I'll get that set up if Nick won't. Badly Super says, do you think they will reprint Moonbryon alt like base set Zard? I think on a long enough timeline, they probably will. If the price is high enough, if it seems the demand is there. One thing we've talked about definitely before is do that VMAX alt art in shiny form. Just do it again with some stamp on it. Like, absolutely, it could happen.
I don't think it'll happen anytime soon. Maybe if you're talking like 20, 30 years from now, it could happen. With the Charizard, obviously that's like the card. That's the card that all of us growing up in the 90s knew about and wanted. So that card is just like super iconic. And the Moonbryon could be the base set Charizard of this generation. So it could happen, but it wouldn't happen for a very long time, if you ask me.
I mean, yeah, they can reprint anything anytime. I mean, it's a simple answer. Who knows?
I don't think they would reprint the Moonbryon
Like,
within the next couple of years.
probably not anytime too soon, but think of Celebrations 2.0 where they do like one card from each year. That would probably be the card they grab from 2021 or whatever year it was.
Yeah.
And then the question comes up of what effect would that have on the price of the Moonbryon? Would it go up because of it? Would it go down because of it? Blah, blah, blah. All the same conversations we have every time there's a reprint of something.
Mm-hmm. At this point, would it matter? I mean, because I think the reprint right now would be a very small chance anyhow. But even if, well, let's just say 5 years from now, they do like a 5-year Evolving Skies, the best thing ever to release in the last 10 years set, right? And they reprint it. Would it actually do anything to the price?
If it's like a complete reprint of Evolving Skies, then I think it would. But if it's like a Celebrations type set, I don't think it would. I don't think it would.
It couldn't though. It couldn't because Evolving Skies is released with yellow borders. So if they reprint it, it's going to have the gray borders. Just saying. There's a first edition Moonbryon now.
That's the kind of a change that once you make the borders from yellow to silver, there's no way physically those printers can only print silver borders for eternity. So yeah, that's what I've heard, and I have it on good authority that that's an irreversible process.
Thank you. They're never gonna print yellow borders again, guys. All right, so buy them all.
It's physically impossible.
I don't understand how that was such a thing. Not being able to reprint yellow board. Doesn't anyone have a printer that prints paper?
Oh man. C Love It wants to know, what are your thoughts on modern XY to Sword and Shield hollows and cheap chase cards like Amazing Rares for the long term? As far as if you just want to collect and appreciate art on the cheap, there's a lot of like really good art in some of them. As far as if you're talking investment potential, I'm not investing in any of it personally. There's probably some like random obscure low pop hollows that will do certain things and go for too much money, but at the end of the day, like that, yeah, that's cool cheap art.
Hollows, not a chance are gonna do anything. I can't see that. Collecting wise, there are some good ones, but investing wise, not a chance. Even the amazing rares, I really do like the amazing rares. I got one set for myself because I do like those cards, but I don't think those are gonna do much in the long term. I wouldn't be buying big positions of those cards. I think like the hyper rares, the amazing rares, the shinies, those were really, really popular in the Sun and Moon era, and even going into the Sword and Shield era. But once we got to the Sword and Shield alt arts, everyone kind of forgot about these other cards and are going after the alt arts now. And I don't think there's going to come a time where people go back and start going after the amazing rares, the shinies, the hyper rares, and all of that stuff. Just because objectively, I think the alt arts are way better than any of those other types of cards, and I think a lot of other people think the same thing.
Well, and if they do, there's already tens of thousands graded too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say, like Badly Super just said in the chat, fortunately, amazing rare. Some of them have really, really cool artwork. I really like the Celebi, the Rayquaza, and as well as the Jirachi. But unfortunately, they were just printed a ton. And I don't ever really like using the printed to oblivion term. But in this case, if they do go up, it might take a while. But there's always Legendary Heartbeat in Japan where they were 1 per box. So the amazing rares in Japanese are quite a bit, I don't want to call them rare, but they were harder to get since they were 1 per box. Just want to throw that out there.
Mr. Walrus says, question, with Dan having been on eBay for 22 years, what changes still need to be made on the platform? So I pulled up my eBay just to hit back. Member since May 2nd, 2004. I have been rounding it to 20. It is slightly over 19. So 19 years and 16 days to be precise. Anyways, I think we could use this meme question to just comment on what changes need to be made. Overall, it's the best one by far, in my opinion. I wish it was cleaner and easier and nicer on the buying side for international buyers. I don't know what portion of it is just buyers being not very intelligent and not understanding what eBay is plainly putting in front of their faces, but somehow there's a disconnect. Somehow there are too many international buyers that don't know how to buy on eBay. So like eBay, please teach them how to do that. Make it more apparent, make it more seamless, because disproportionately the amount of messages I get come from international sellers like getting surprise custom fees or getting surprise shipping fees or this or that, or not knowing how to lot things together. So if eBay could do something to just clean that up on their end, that would be great. Other than that, there's not too many complaints, to be honest.
I was going to say exactly what Bradley just said. Auto pay when winning an auction.
Just don't auction. I mean, just don't auction. That's the right answer there.
Hey, eBay was built around auctions.
I actually would say for this question, what changes that need to be made now that you've purchased TCG Player eBay, let's integrate some of the easy ways that you can list singles but do it on eBay so that people can take advantage of the standard envelope that is allowed to be used on eBay, or provide the standard envelope on TCG Player so that we can have track singles so people aren't constantly screwing you.
I think they will eventually. That would be very nice, though.
They just need to nuke the back end of TCG Player and restart from zero.
It's pretty bad.
It's like Troll and Toad's back end with Evo was good, but their website is still like stuck in the 90s. I don't understand these places.
I think they're a lot better than TCG Player, but it is like they both could be a lot better. Weedle's Warehouse said Dan is relentless on Nick's lack of content, LOL. And then I gave him the comment in chat that I see that he hasn't posted in a month himself, so he better watch out. I'm gonna start I'm gonna start firing some shots his way. Come on, Wheels Warehouse. The people need some videos.
Oh boy.
I'm liked. I'm subbed.
You're up next, Weedle.
The bell is rung, but nothing's coming to me. So make me some content. Come on, the people need it.
Not everyone is on YouTube 24/7 like you, Dan.
Damn, Dan, get wrecked.
Nick, this is your second live this week. Come on, I just saw you live Monday night. You're live again now. You're
I know. I've been busy lately.
How are those 5-cent singles gonna get to their end buyer? Hermit Man 1 says, what's the flip opportunity / potential for Pokemon Classic Collection? That's the one that comes out in the fall, right? I think that's the one I pre-ordered through Tenso or lottery or whatever through Tenso. I don't even know.
What is this? I don't think I've even heard of this.
Isn't that the reprint that's coming out like in the
Charizard, Blastoise, and Venusaur?
It's not Pokemon 151. It's something coming out in the fall.
I don't know if I've even heard of this.
There's potential there. I'm not gonna go like super deep into it. I don't think. If I do, it will be more through like buying singles and grading them. I'm not gonna have access to the product at a price I like. I don't think. I think that's when I entered the lottery for on Tenso. But yeah, I don't know. People will pay too much for stuff out of the gate, I'm sure, as they almost always do. What do you think, Ray?
Yeah,
since Nick doesn't even know what it is.
Nick loves not knowing anything about Japanese product.
Well, is it like the 3 decks where you get the Blastoise, Charizard, Venusaur? You get those like weird looking dice. Is that the same thing?
Think about like, you know, the modern product they have in like every Target. It's like the Battle Academy or whatever.
Yeah, okay, so I know what you're talking about.
Think about like a really, really nice version of the Battle Academy, and they're re-releasing again the big 3, as well as a host of other like base set cards. No, I think it's just the big 3. I'm not sure if it's all of them or not, but anyhow, the point is it's going to be Charizard, Venusaur, Blastoise that you get within that, you know, collection. And yes, guys, buy it, flip it. It's going to do well. Learn from what happened with the 25th collection and see what the 25th Charizard and the gold border is doing. See what the Blastoise is doing and see what the Venusaur is doing, and make your own interpretation, because it's going to have a different holo effect and it looks really, really nice. It's going to be good. Go buy it.
I will take your advice.
And do what
financial
Dan's doing, buy the singles.
Yeah.
That is Pokemon hobby financial advice 101. Please don't sue me.
Put it in plastic and sell it. Retro says, are we confirmed wailing on V-Star boxes? Well, V-Star's gone down at least 50% over the past few months, so I don't like to buy stuff that's going down before it hits 0. I like to buy stuff that's recently quadrupled or quintupled before it quadruples or quintuples again. So I would look at like Sun and Moon alt arts. You didn't like them 4 months ago when they were like 25% of the price, so buy them today. FOMO, FOMO, FOMO. I mean, Latias and Latios alt art, I think that's up to like 2,500. Why not buy it at 5,000 before it goes to 25,000? I mean, come on, people. What are we doing here? We don't like buying stuff when the price goes down. Buy high, sell higher, right?
I like your attitude.
I like to see a good solid 10x in the recent price history before I buy, just so that I know, like I can extrapolate that out and I can figure out when my next 10x will land. But no, like obviously all a big meme, all joking. If you liked V-Star, I bought 100 boxes at 80. I've not yet bought more, but I intend to buy 100 or hundreds more when it's 60. A lot of people buy at 80. They get scared because it went to 60. Like if you liked it at 80, sure, more was printed and all that, but it's an ultra modern set. I knew the risk when I bought it at 80 that it could be printed again. So if anything, I should like it more now at 60, 65, which I do. So like, unless I forget about it, unless I'm just like, I'm not going to intentionally not buy it. I'm not going to sell mine at a loss. If anything, I'm just going to buy more, which is the way that like you should tend to go when the price goes down on something. But people, that's not how people work largely. Price goes up, they want to buy. Price goes down, they want to sell.
Yeah, I had 3 cases at 75 a box for V-Star, and I have the same thought as you did. Just buy more as it comes down. The set is a monster.
What are you guys doing over here? You're giving me a hard time for not knowing anything about Japanese, yet I'm the only one who's held off so far. gotta wait.
That's because you're a fool.
Then buy. Can't be buying at $75-$80.
I'm happy to hold it at that. I don't care.
Just means I'll have a better profit margin, so I'll be able to undercut you when it comes time to sell them.
You filthy animal! You would never.
Mr. Walrus says, when's the next con to start the hype? I just pulled up Collecticon, and it's Kansas City in about 2 months, and then Long Beach 6 weeks after that. I'm not going to either, but I am going to Charlotte. So Kansas hype, Long Beach hype, Charlotte hype, all together. Actually,
you don't think you're going to Long Beach.
Well, on that note, Nick should shout out his next weekend, Memorial Day weekend in Hooksett, New Hampshire. I forget what the game store is called.
Let's play collectibles and things in Hooksett, New Hampshire. Me, Jake, and Dan TCG are hosting our, what is this?
Jake.
Our third trade night? Maybe that's our fourth. I forget.
I think it's exactly the third.
Yeah, it might be the third, yeah. So yeah, hosting another one of our trade nights, which those have always been a good time. I've always enjoyed those. So if any of you guys are in the area, feel free to come on up and hang out and have a good time.
One thing I was curious about on the promo, it said meet content creators. What content creators will be there?
Jake.
Jake hasn't made a video in over a month. You haven't made a video. I might go myself, so maybe you'll be able to meet the content creator, Catch 'em All Collectibles. But I'm not 100% confirmed yet. I'm still trying.
We need you there. You're the only content creator.
I'm still trying to work out my travel stipend, and I will just say the event coordinators are a little bit tight with the wallets. They're a little bit tight, not really helping me out here with my stipend. So I'm not sure I'll be able to swing it, but we'll see. We'll see.
Hey Nick, could you front the money to have a real content creator there, please? It would probably do well for the attendance to show up at the actual event.
Yeah, maybe I should pay Dan not to go. We might have a better turnout if he doesn't go.
No, I think you guys have been killing it though, right? Like, I mean, you guys have had a pretty crowded LGS there. Hopefully the fire marshal doesn't have to come in and shut you down.
Let's hope not. But no, the first event we had, it was like 20, 30-ish people the whole time, which was awesome. Didn't know what to expect. The second one we had like 50, 60 people, which was really good. So it'll be interesting to see if we get any more of a turnout for this one. I'm excited to see.
Do you guys just hang out there, or do you guys actually set up some sort of vending tables, or what do you do?
So most people, we rent it. It's a big room. So Let's Play is a card store, and they have a room off in the back that's set up for like their tournaments. So they have a bunch of tables in there and chairs and TVs and stuff like that. And so we use that room. And so there's a bunch of tables and chairs, and so people set up what they bring with them, and other people will be walking around looking at stuff. Dan and Jake both usually set stuff up and do trades and stuff with people. Me, I'll usually like bring a case of like No Damage Ninetales, my CGC Squirtle, some of my theme decks and stuff like that. I don't usually do too much trading at those trade nights. I just walk around and talk with people. That's why I like going to those.
It's kind of that weird dynamic where certain inventory you wouldn't want to bring, right? Because the LGS themselves have some amount of inventory, and they're hosting your event. Ideally, some amount of the patrons of your event would spend some money in the store. So it's that weird dynamic where like you wouldn't want to step out. You certainly wouldn't want to bring, I wouldn't think, like Scarlet and Violet booster packs or Crown Zenith booster packs and like sell the exact same stuff that the LGS is selling themselves.
Yeah, that makes sense. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I haven't been there yet. I been telling them that I intend to make at least one this year, and this next weekend might be the one that I make. I'm gonna try. I'm not gonna be like vending it. I'm not gonna be there the whole time. I'll probably just pop in. Might actually be doing like a family trip for Memorial Day weekend out that way.
I bet the family can't wait to go to something like that.
And it'll be like something. My son actually will love it. My son will love going into a game store. He's never been in one. So going into one and just seeing all the Pokemon stuff, seeing all the video games. He loves Mario, Pokemon, all that kind of stuff. I'm sure I'll probably...
I was talking more about having to go see Uncle Nick, and that's probably never...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the store itself is actually pretty good too. I don't have a single LGS around me, so for me anything is better than nothing. But this store that we do it at it's actually pretty big, and they have a pretty good selection of cards and stuff.
Whittle's Warehouse says, question for all three. Do you see Pokemon doing another base set reprint at any point in the future? Something like Evolutions. Would this be a good thing or no? 100% yes. I don't know how thorough it will be. Will it be more celebrations where they just grab a few? Will it be more Evolutions where they grab several? It's just a matter of time when that reprint base set Charizard will come back. I think it's a good thing. I think that art is like just iconic. I know when I was at Dallas, a lot of kids were like, they recognized what a base set pack was. They were like, oh, those are vintage packs. And I didn't actually have any I had one Celebrations Charizard with me there, raw. But they had an appreciation. They understood what some of those old vintage cards were. And getting that artwork, getting that historic thing that just... like base set Charizard is one of, if you did a Mount Rushmore of cards, I think that would be one of them. It's a big draw. It's a big, to me overall, it's just good for the hobby. Not to like way overdo it, but you see Yu-Gi-Oh doing it too. Like how many times has Blue Eyes White Dragon and Dark Magician Girl, they keep reprinting them because they keep like performing. They keep selling. Pokemon will too.
In a way, they already are. Pokemon 151, although not being base set, is, from what I understand, based off the original 151 art of base Jungle Fossil. So if you look at some of the cards, just Bulbasaur, Charmander, Squirtle, there's almost like I guess a little story in the art that is happening between the original art as well as the Pokemon 151 set. So in a way, I kind of like what they're doing with Pokemon 151. So far, that set looks amazing to me. I like what they're doing with it because they're not reprinting base set, which would be boring to me. I opened up base set as a kid. I had said earlier that in the live that I don't really care for Evolutions too much. It's because I've already opened that up a ton before, and I'm sorry, I'm not, I guess, not much of a true collector in that regard. I don't want to open it up again. However, like I said, I did like CP6, and that's because CP6 had the secrets in it that were not available in the Evolutions release. But to me, they already are kind of doing it in a way.
Yeah, I was gonna say that as well. The 151 set seems to be very, very similar.
You didn't say it. I said it first, okay? So let me take it all this time. All right, thanks.
Oh man. Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead, buddy. Please finish what you're saying. Drop the facts on us.
Like you said, I like how it's not an exact reprint and how they're making the backgrounds of the cards different. I think that'll be really cool. But I'm excited for that one, and I don't think there's ever going to be a time where we don't see base set reprints. I think we're always going to see those in some, maybe not like an entire set, but the Charizard, Blastoise, Venusaur, some combination of cards. We will see reprints with forever.
I mean, they've consistently done it. Is it the Charmander, the Secret Charmander, is it EX Dragon that like it's instead of looking at the flame that he's created on like the bush, he's like creating a flame with the volcano or something like that. They've always
well, then
done
there's
it
the
in some way
Stormfront
where they
ones too.
reference the original. Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Yeah, they'll always do it because it will always work. Earlier we were asked what we would change about eBay or what eBay could do better, and Wolfhawk1 has one good thing. What do you guys think about eBay's lack of regulating counterfeit Pokemon cards sold on their platform? So I think they do regulate it to an extent, but I think there's just so much of it that there's like you ban one and there's 10 in their wake. But yeah, overall, like when you search Pokemon cards, you see the special flash custom whatever blah blah blah. That's copyright infringement. That's IP abuse. Like eBay does not allow that. They're just not amazing at it. I think the same thing goes on in clothing. I think the same thing goes on in any type of luxury good that people rip off. And overall, eBay probably does like a better job than we realize. Because if they didn't touch it, if they didn't do anything with it, it would probably be horrible. It still feels kind of bad, depending on what search terms you use. But yeah, I'm sure they're doing a lot. It's just there's a lot they're fighting too.
What Dan said.
Yeah, I pretty much agree there.
Badly Super says, can you guys name a flip which you are not pursuing? So is there a certain, this is something I hear James and Cam say all the time. They're like, you could make so much money doing this, but we don't. So is there any like just gravy flip that you see looking at it outside looking in and you're just not doing? I've been taking a lot of these first. Nick, why don't you go first?
Oh boy, put me on the spot here.
Yeah, I need to think.
Well, coming soon, it'll be the sketch evolutions that are coming out in Japan and pretty soon actually, couple weeks maybe towards the end of the month. I definitely want to buy some of those. And well, I guess not pursuing it. Well, I'm not pursuing it right now
because you can't.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Nick again answering a question in the exact opposite way of the intent.
I'm trying to think of another answer. I thought that was gonna be a perfect answer.
Do you want me to go?
I'm not gonna pursue it. How's that?
Do you want me to go to give you time to think now?
You go, Ray.
Totally... If you have one, you can go. Since
all right,
the active ones away.
I would say I've never cared to and still won't pursue Moonbryon. I just don't have an interest because, and like I said, I've always said this before, I kind of have to have an interest in the card if I'm going to be grading it and trying to sell it myself. I don't know. I just don't like, I don't know. I just don't like selling things that I don't like myself. So Moonbryon would definitely be in the category of cards that I'm not going to pursue. And that doesn't mean like I don't go after those easy flippable cards because I've flipped the SSV 001 promo. I've probably graded 50 of them. And I've probably also graded and flipped probably like 50 of the Unagabas Pikachus. I just think that they're great art and great cards, but Moonbryon would be the number one. I won't have it. I mean, don't get me wrong. If I'm at a Collecticon and someone offers me a stupid price on it, I'll buy it and then flip it then. So, but I'm certainly not pursuing it.
Mm-hmm.
So my one that I'm not pursuing is BGS grading for black labels. That's one that definitely has good opportunity, especially with Japanese cards. But me myself, I really don't like BGS, so I probably won't ever pursue that one.
I have cards at BGS right now. I'm going for it. It's too juicy to pass up. I guess it's not Pokemon, but like Lorcana that a ton of people are talking about. Some people are going to be buying the boxes and breaking. Some people are going to be buying the boxes to flip, buying the singles to grade. I'm probably not going to touch it at all. I think I have enough Pokemon and MetaZoo to keep me busy. I have the remains of that big collection that I bought, some Dragon Ball Z, Yu-Gi-Oh, like all that different kind of stuff to do. But if, again, as Ray said, if someone serves me up a silver platter, like, oh, here's a bunch of Lorcana just at a crazy price, and if it's there and accessible and like just if I can't turn it down, but I'm not going to actively seek it out personally. As far as in Pokemon, I think I'm pursuing most of what's out there. Like I'm doing a little bit of all three grading companies. I'm doing some English, some Japanese. I'm doing ultra modern English. I'm doing vintage collection purchases. I'm kind of doing a little bit of everything in Pokemon. So I'm sure there's niche obscure plays I'm leaving on the table. I'm not buying from. I know Retro's in here. I'm not using the B word. That website that allows you to buy from an international foreign land. I'm not buying through there at all. I've not bought from there in several months. So I guess that's a pretty broad thing. You can do a lot of flips through there, but I'm not doing any through there right now.
Hey, Supra, I do know about Moonbryon, and I do know about other plays. I just choose to go to plays that I like better.
Yeah,
answer your question.
At the end of the day,
Yeah.
like everyone's got limited time, limited capital to some extent. Both are limited for everybody to some extent, and you got to pick your plays, and what do you pick them based on? Everyone's got to set their own thresholds for what they'll buy and why. Here's one that I don't know the answer to, but Garen M says, is the lottery system in Japan Poke Center scanning for accounts that use a proxy? I heard rumors and I haven't won a single one in a very long time. I think it was a lottery for the Precious Collector box, right? I won that one through my Tenso thing. I think I lost a couple recently. I haven't even been entering them all recently, but have you heard anything like that, Ray?
I will say I started to think like that too. I haven't won any in a long time, but I would also say this also coincides with a time in the Japanese market where it's kind of going crazy again. But it also would not surprise me, knowing how Japan operates and the way they kind of block out certain buyers. It wouldn't surprise me if proxies are getting blocked. I mean, if people don't know, if you go to Pokemon Center Japan, they rip the box there when you buy it. You can't leave a Pokemon Center with the seal still on to try to prevent people from scalping. So if they're willing to do something like open up your box for you and not let you leave Pokemon Center with a sealed box, it wouldn't surprise me if they're blocking. I mean, it just makes sense. It's essentially one and the same.
Keenan Montgomery has a very interesting question on timing. When do you think will be the right time to buy those sketch cards? I purchased mine way too soon with the Pikachu. It's a very interesting thing, and there are so many things at play. Like when you read this question, the obvious answer you might go to is when they're as cheap as possible. But when they're as cheap as possible, the graded cards will already have come down quite a bit. So you need to optimize multiple things. You need to optimize when you buy them, what service level you send them at, and then whether you sell them through auctions or buy it nows. All these different moving parts. Like if you're making a massive play, buying like 1,000 copies, you're more prone to the correct answer being the lowest entry point, right? The lowest price. You're making the longer play. But if you're trying to do like one or two sets and you're trying to do that like complete falling knife race to the bottom play, probably fairly early, and send them at 75 and turn them around quick and be that first one to auction or whatever. Like, I'm not making that side of the play. The type of play that I'll be making is buying more like 100+ copies. So I don't know exactly when I'll be waiting. I can't say exactly, like, what people want to hear is exactly 27 days after they come out, exactly 32 days after the first PSA 10 auction ends. I don't know when it will be, but I kind of have a decent feel, having gone through a lot of these, what the Pokedata chart will look like. When you start seeing like an inflection point, when you start seeing it kind of leveling out, it's a lot by feel though. And at the end of the day, like, if you're trying to make that race to the bottom play, it's higher risk, higher potential reward. But yeah, if you're like, this is where you get into some analysis paralysis. If you're trying to get one set for your binder to just keep raw forever, as late as possible, buy it 6 months, a year later. If you're trying to, it all depends on your intent, right? Like, the way you ask this, I don't know whether you're collecting or flipping or investing or what you're doing. So more of that context is needed to answer appropriately. But it's still going to be guesswork.
I'm assuming the sketch, he's talking about the Unagaba EVs and the sketch cards. Is that what he means?
I believe so, yeah.
I can just never remember Unagama, however you say that. So they're always sketch cards to me. They'll never be anything else.
Okay, so that's what he's meaning. So, I mean, with the Pikachu, as someone who pretty much has always watched it, the lowest I think that card ever got was between $12 and $14. And I always like to give ranges because, you know, who knows if you're actually paying tax, whatever, where you're getting. I mean, if I'm buying a card and if it's like $1 less, if I buy it and like, I don't really care that much. But I was buying Unagaba Pikachus at $25 in grading, all the way down to $14 in grading, and I would still buy 20 to 30 more Unagabas if I can find them tomorrow for $15 and $20. That range, sometimes it's just the card for me. And I think it's going to be a very similar case with these EV cards. So,
yeah, my plan is to buy them as soon as possible. At least a small initial batch as soon as possible. Send them off as one of the higher tiers at PSA and play that race to the bottom game, and then buy more and kind of slowly sell them.
The interesting thing for me that comes from this is, and I think it would be really cool if they start doing annual Unagabas. You're going to start now, instead of just being like one-off Japanese promos, we're not going to start having like, you know, Japanese promo sets of these cards of collecting this artist, which could make things very interesting for whoever was buying the Unagaba Pikachus at the start. Although there's a ton of them out there, it's not like there's 1,000 of them, but we already saw with the EVs being released, Unagaba Pikachu took a short spike because of it. So I would like a Unagaba Gengar, just saying.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
Really cool.
I got so lucky with those. I actually just got 25 of the Pikachus back from PSA just the other day.
Are they all gone already?
I out with that purchase. What was that?
Are they gone already? Did you sell them all already?
No, I haven't even listed them yet. I gotta get them listed soon.
I always say it's funny, out of all the with the Collecticons and all the cards in the case, that's always the card, if I have it in a case, besides, of course, Dan's Monk promos, the art Monk, whatever that's called.
Screen promos.
The screen promos, yeah, that's it, sorry. The Unagabas always get attention in a case.
I believe it, yeah.
I will just say quickly, it's about 4 o'clock right now. We're going to go for another 30 minutes. There's not much of a backlog for questions, if any at all. I'm really close to the bottom of the chat. So another 30 minutes. Feel free to leave your questions. Ray or Nick, if you guys have any topics you wanted to cover that we didn't get to yet, let me know. Don't forget the links.
Yeah.
Let me just show you guys links one last time before you ask your question. Ray's link to his Instagram and YouTube are in the description. Nick's link to his eBay Live that's happening tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, right?
Yeah, 7 o'clock.
That's also in the description as well. So what's up, Ray?
Nick, when you're searching for the Unagaba Pikachu on eBay, what are you searching for if you can never remember remember the name?
I always search by card numbers.
That's the easy way. Yeah.
But still, like, how do you get to that point? Do you just type in Google search Pikachu until you find the card?
Funny
Well, no,
eyebrow
these
Pikachu card.
ones
What are you looking for?
what? No, these are ones I just had forever in a box, and finally sent them off to PSA and just got lucky with the timing. I originally bought them back in when they first came out. I bought them through the right through the Japanese Pokemon Center, and it was at the time it was probably the worst purchase I ever made because I was did it through Bai. It was my first experience through Bai. So I was like a day late. So all the like the good stuff, all the booster packs were already gone. So I was buying like stickers and tape and notepads and all this just like random stuff that's not worth anything. And after all of like the buy fees, the shipping, and all of that stuff, I ended up paying like it was like $25 a card, and they're sitting on eBay for like $20 a card. So that was my first and only experience using buy.
Yeah.
I can say I've never lost on a Unagaba card ever.
South Florida Supra says if you're buying those on eBay, you already lost. I mean, I bought not a ton of Unagabas, but I bought some. That was like when you want to buy 100 or hundreds of something. When I was buying the screen promos, I killed it because I was buying them on eBay. I was buying. I mean, I don't think we'll ever see a promo that's that cheap again, that available. But you can go through all the hoops and you can get your couple cards. You can get a couple dozen cards at like a couple bucks a card cheaper. But at the end of the day, like a lot of times the play that is underrated, I think, is just buying quantity right on eBay direct from Japan. That's definitely a thing. Ernesto says, please stop.
Wait, we're talking about the hobby, Ernesto. What are we doing here? We're trying to talk
Ernesto,
about the hobby, and now what the hell, man?
So if you're a collector who enjoys the hobby and really wants to buy like a lot of super minty Japanese cards, there are sellers right on eBay that will sell them to you in high quantity for low prices. Ernesto, we're talking hobby now.
Oh man.
How many memberships do I have to gift for y'all to stop Ray from talking Bai? I think like Bai, there's absolutely I made some crazy flips off Bai back in the day, but there are some cards I've looked at where it's like, yeah, I can buy 50 through 50 different listings on Bai and then wait for the consolidation, blah blah blah. Or I can just go buy quantity 50 on eBay for like $1 more a card or 50 cents more a card. Like you definitely it all depends on how you value your time and what kind of quantities you're dealing in. But Bai's not like always the winner. The ground floor is not always the winner. Sometimes paying for that extra convenience and getting the quantity all in one go, that can be a play.
I have a request.
What's up?
Can we get Supra on the next PokeFlipz live? Because he's got all the plays in the world. We need to get his insights.
Yeah. I see he was talking about a little back and forth with you. Money is the motive/goal. Help your family out. So instead of that, you limit yourself. If money is your sole goal in Pokemon, I hate to tell you this, but like there's a lot better places to make a lot of money, in my opinion. Like I'm not doing this. I quit my job as a chemical engineer because this is like combining a passion with something I enjoy doing business in. And my ultimate like best thing, if the best thing for my family was as high of a net worth as possible when I die, I would have stayed a chemical engineer and I would have climbed the ladder and all that good stuff. But I think the best thing for me, for my family, for just everyone I'm involved in, I think it's for me and us to be happier and spend time together. And like that's getting like really deep and philosophical off of a thing on not selling things you don't like. But I think there's absolutely merit to skipping some things that you don't like, even if they could be more lucrative, even if they could be more profitable. Because at the end of the day, you've got to like have fun with what you're doing, right? Life is short. I don't.
Also, do we have tissues?
We have tissue.
I don't need to remember the name Unagabuzz to print. OSP 2023. And Ernesto, the answer is 50. If you give 50 memberships, we'll talk about any topic you want. I think I'm fully caught up with no questions in wait. If anyone has any.
Man, that doesn't happen very often.
Is it because I'm boring? Sorry, guys.
It's because we have you on. That's what it is.
Sorry, 88 watching. I apologize.
Ernesto says, my main question is for Ray. What is the model of shelf you used at Orlando Collecticon? Thank you.
Hey, Ernesto, Ernie, please go to Harbor Freight and look for plastic storage shelves, and you will find what you're looking for.
Like $30, right? Pretty cheap.
Yeah, they're cheap.
Yeah. Retro says, when are we investing for the 30th anniversary boom? We're flipping through it. We're investing now in grading fees. We're constantly investing in grading fees, and then we're selling it, and then we're buying more and selling it. I'm not personally buying any cards to hold specifically for the 30th anniversary. It always like scares me a little bit, and it always blows my mind. And I know Retro's like partially memeing, probably. When people ask when the next boom is coming, that's scary because like how is this not a boom? Is this not a boom? We're in a boom still. For anyone who doesn't realize, it's crazy out here.
Yeah, I don't. I never understood all like the people on Facebook asking those types of questions. Anytime Logan Paul would do anything, is this going to be the next boom? Is this what's going to cause the next boom?
It's mostly just people looking for get rich quick, instant gratification. Like a lot of people just stay poor forever because they're trying to get rich quick. At the end of the day, that's in Pokemon, that's in the stock market, that's in crypto, that's in anything. People just try to look for shortcuts and do really, really poorly because human emotion and all this stuff about buy high, sell low. Like it's not just a meme. People actually do it.
Oh, it's also the whole thing of they saw Pikachu cards selling for 7,125%, and they want to get that. They're not happy with maybe just a 30 or 40% profit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Brad wants a million% on my Pikachu.
Yeah, Brad wants to know if you're doing Long Beach, Ray. Are you doing Long Beach?
I am not doing Long Beach. I'm actually was very, very close to doing KC. Unfortunately, I didn't get a table. Kind of upset that I missed on it. I was supposed to be doing Tampa Bay Comic Con with Weedle, which I may still go up there and just walk it now. So shout out Weedle if you're still in the chat. We can maybe just go hang out and go see some of the other Florida guys. But yep, I missed on KC. Long Beach I can't do just because of my child's school timing, and the next one would be Charlotte.
Yeah, Charlotte and Long Beach being 3 weeks apart, and then Long Beach being like such a long flight. When you have like a 5-6 hour flight each way, it feels like you need to stay longer, and I just don't want to do that 3 weeks before Charlotte.
Mm-hmm. And I think my timing may have shifted like you, Dan. I think I might just do Charlotte and Houston. And it sucks because I really did like Denver, and I would like to go see Swami and the guys. But
it's 3 weeks after Charlotte, I think. Yeah.
It's 3 weeks after Charlotte, and for me, it's a lot longer of a flight than Houston, so I might as well just make that swap and hopefully be able to build up a little bit more inventory and then just go to Houston instead.
Yep. Yep.
Ernesto says, are low pops a real thing to consider or just a selling tactic to use on dummies? If it's consecutive cert PSA 4 stamp promo boxes, it is a selling tactic to use on dummies. If it is an actual legitimate historic card, the most valuable cards in the hobby, extra copies aside, all that stuff, the Illustrator, 39 copies. The Trophy Pikachus, 9 copies, 12 copies each. The Trophy Pikachus, 6 to 12 copies each. Like, the most valuable cards in the hobby are the most iconic, the most historic, the highest grade, the lowest print run. Even the base versus Zard, iconic card. What is there, 120 PSA 10s? That card is very low pop relative to like how many people want it. That is why that card is $250,000. So if it's used for like the real intent of a low pop, like top pop, low pop, it's actually a thing. If and when the no damage Ninetales ever sells the PSA 10, that card is going to smash it out of the park. If and when a pre-release Clefable 10 ever gets graded a 10, that card will destroy. Like, pops matter. Supply matters. Demand matters too, but like supply matters as well.
It's also why serialized cards do really, really well. It's because there's a built-in population control.
Yeah.
No, obviously not every serialized card. I mean, if you have a 101 Trubbish, you may not do too well. I mean, I'm a buyer, but
you're the only buyer though.
Yeah, you get my point. It still has to be somewhat of a wanted card, but I mean, you see, Dan, didn't you pull a serialized Metazoo card? Or what are those doing? I have no clue.
I haven't even graded. It's in my pile. It's going out. I wanted to go out this week, but it's probably going to go out next week. I did pull one. It's 7 of 10 or 6 of 10. We pulled 2 of them, but one was for a customer. I don't know what that's going to go for exactly. I have no idea. Honestly, I don't think another one's been pulled besides for the 2 that I pulled. I don't know if another one's been auctioned or sold from that set, but I think what do they call it? Not artificial, but like contrived. This contrived, serialized, mass-produced scarcity, as Reserved Investments would say. Shout out to Sean from Reserved Investments. I'm not as big of a fan of that. I think something that is just inherently rare, like the Trophy Pikachus. They were awarded in 1997 at the original championship event. Before there were world championships, it was the Lizardon and whatever mega battle tournaments. Those ones have more true, like, genuine stories. They're not just contrived, like, hey, let's slap a 1 out of 10 on this one, only make 10 of them, even though we could make 1 million. Like, you know what I'm saying? All that stuff. I think there's a big difference. But that said, like, the triple logo man LeBron sells for $2.5 million. That's right up there with, like, I mean, it's higher than a lot of the earlier, more historic cards. Like, I'm going from basketball to football, but like the 52 Mantle and the Honus Wagner, now to baseball, cards like that. Some of these ultra modern cards are competing in that vicinity, but I think the Honus Wagner, I think the Mickey Mantle, I think those cards will age better than these triple logo mans, double logo mans, 1 of 1s that are just like, they can produce another one every year, and they are. John says, what is y'all's opinion?
I will say that.
Go ahead.
I hope Pokemon never does serialized stuff. It's not that I'm against serialized, but can you imagine the FOMO that would occur in a Pokemon market if serialized cards are made?
Oh, I want them to. I think it would be
insanity.
I think it would be awesome.
Killed.
I think it would be awesome. I hope they do.
Oh, it would be cool for the collector who actually gets it, but it also would cause chaos in the streets.
Oh yeah.
John says, what is y'all's opinion on confirmation bias in the age of the internet? Many trust any source that holds the same opinion despite zero data, zero evidence, or zero life experience to generate such claims. Yeah, I mean, it is a powerful and evil thing that a lot of people use to manipulate people. It's sad, really, when we have these smartphones at our fingertips, all the wealth of information we have at our fingertips, and the lack of fact checking, the lack of actually caring to do any due diligence on any subjects. And this is like inside of and outside of Pokemon. It's just kind of an unfortunate reality that it's like the human condition that people just love getting all excited and worked up and emotional and crazy over things that like they don't even know to be true and don't ever care to check. That's like mostly outside of Pokemon, but yeah, I think it's a good question.
Yeah, I remember. I remember you saying to do YouTube incognito and just go down the rabbit hole of Pokemon investing, and some of the videos people have and stuff people say is just scary wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely need to be careful out there.
I would also say something like this also impacts someone who hasn't been in the hobby as long. Someone who's just gotten into it last month is going to certainly see some of those videos and hopefully not take their advice if it is poor advice, and get screwed by it. But if you've been in here a while and you see some of it, I mean, even I learn something new almost every single day. But that's why, man, having zero life experience sucks, because that means you haven't really ever been, you haven't aged since you were born. I think we all have a little bit of life experience, but hopefully people aren't naive enough to believe every single bit of what they're seeing. But we do see it. It's unfortunate. I mean, it just sucks. I mean, such a terrible question to try to answer.
Yeah. BB says, what is your favorite non-Crown Zenith gold card from the Sword and Shield era? You want to start, Ray?
Oh, that's an easy one.
Say it again. What's the question?
Favorite non-Crown Zenith gold card.
Sword and Shield. I'll go. I have the best gold card, even including Crown Zenith, is Snorlax.
I was probably going to say Snorlax.
3 for Snorlax.
Snorlax is awesome.
Well, now you have to change your answer, because now you're just copying me.
Wait, the Mew is pretty good too.
Yeah.
Can I ask a follow-up question to that? What about the black gold cards? What are your guys' favorite? Because I'm a personal big fan of those black gold cards.
I don't like those cards.
You're an idiot.
They're all right. I'm not crazy about them, but
your opinions are the worst, both of you. I happen to love those cards.
Why? Because they're in VMAX Climax?
I think that
no, they're just too like weird. When I'm organizing cards, gold cards I have a spot for, but these black and gold cards they just don't have a spot to go in.
It's all about you and what you want to do, Nick.
Ray needs to like them because they're in VMAX Climax. He likes that. What is there? A Mew and a Rayquaza in there, right?
Watch your mouth, Dan. Yes.
Ray's on the pump. Always on the pump. VMAX Climax. His name in Discord is Raymax Climax. So there you go.
I don't know what you're talking about at all. This is all.
Oh God.
What Discord group is that your name in?
This is all false narrative. I don't know what.
I think all of them.
Also, the answer is the black and gold Rayquaza is awesome looking. Just want to put it out there.
Just happens to be from VMAX Climax.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. I also like the Mew.
Pongo wants to know, question for Ray, how excited are you to meet me in Charlotte?
On a scale of 1 to 10, -4.
There we go. We're going to do some quick hitters here because we only got 7 minutes left and we're falling a little behind. John wants to know, Nick, how many no damage Ninetales have you cracked and regraded?
I only did that once. It was a BGS 9 copy that got a CGC 8.5. It was pretty disappointing there.
Yeah, but you got it out of that BGS case, and that's the most important thing.
That's the thing that mattered. Yep. Yeah, I sent it no minimum grade. I didn't care what it got.
John says,
wait, one more follow-up question. Did it take a jackhammer to get out of that BGS case too?
John says y'all should get reserved investments on the show. I would love to have Sean on the show. We've never reached out to him, but we'll have to at some point. I'd assume he'd come on probably. He'd probably love to have the chance. I don't know if he'd want to go 3.5 hours like we do, but he'd probably love to have an audience of Pokemon people. He has been on Jake's a couple times. If they get reserved investments, no way they don't turn live chat off. Yeah, there could be issues with the types of means we have rolling here, trying to have some like industry professional on the channel with the live chat we've cultivated over time. That could be partly an issue. Yeah, and we mentioned, I guess we're fully caught up. I thought there was a few we were lagging behind on, and I didn't want to miss them. But yeah, John, we mentioned it in chat, but we did. I linked the premiere in the video, so we covered that question.
Yeah, just in case you didn't see the 10 replies there.
Yeah. Well, we've got 5 minutes left. We've got time for another question or two if anyone wants to drop them in the chat quickly. I'll use this time quickly to just say thanks, Ray, for coming on. It's been a pleasure. It's been long overdue. I hope you weren't actually slighted by the fact that we had Mr. Walrus and other people on before you. We do not choose people based on how much we like or dislike you. We only get through one guest a month, and we're glad to have them all on. It's it's only so many we can get through though.
Well, thank you guys. Like I said at the start here, when I first met you guys, I always felt like we had a pretty darn good connection with being these sassy little assholes that we are. And I always appreciated hanging out with you guys. Every time that we're together, it's just always a lot of fun. And I followed you two a long time before actually meeting you. So it was really strange to kind of just be feeling like automatically really connected once we finally met. And hopefully the friendship continues because I really appreciate you guys for everything you do. Thank you.
Like you followed us around in the bushes, or you followed us on social medias, or what are we talking here?
Remember when you guys were at Rusty's and you were riding the 4-wheeler? Yeah. Like I knew that before you actually told me.
I like it. I would expect nothing less.
Just like this from the bushes, seeing this.
Oh man. Eddie Teapot says, would you guys have Strictly Sealed? I feel like I've heard the name. He says he's a Yu-Gi-Oh guy on. I don't know. I feel like that we're primarily Pokemon. I think there's enough people in Pokemon that we probably have a decade's worth of people to get through. I don't know that we'd go in, but I guess if we have Sean from Reserve Investments, it would be going a bit outside of. He does play in Pokemon, and he does talk about Pokemon on his channel too. So I don't know.
Yeah, having a Yu-Gi-Oh person would be kind of weird though, because I remember a good bit about the original Yu-Gi-Oh sets from back in the day, but I haven't done anything with Yu-Gi-Oh in such a long time. And I know nothing about you Yu-Gi-Oh. Said you never even got into Yu-Gi-Oh back in the day. So it might just be him talking and us sitting there.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, if you guys wanted to have someone that could talk Yu-Gi-Oh on, just have Green Shiz on. Josh is
exactly.
He's going to be great talking to you guys about Pokemon as well as he knows his stuff about Yu-Gi-Oh too. So
yeah, I think it just feels like an unlikely collaboration just because there's not much overlap there, and I don't know that we wouldn't want him to feel for someone to feel like left stranded because they don't have any overlap with us. And if they bring any of their live viewership to their channel, it's like, yeah, it's just going to be kind of a weird dynamic. Wolfhawk1 says, are we not talking about the weighing of modern packs because we don't want to perpetuate the act? I have heard periodically off and on. Some might be weighable, some might be mappable. At the end of the day, like, buy from trusted sources. It's an unfortunate thing. You would hope and think that 25 years later, Pokemon could get a handle on all that, but it sounds like not. I've always been one that if something is going on, it's better for the information to be out there and accessible. So I am by no means intentionally withholding information. I was one before it was cool, before it was allowed, before it was like, I actually used to butt heads with Gary over some things on like E4. I was one early on said, weigh things, sell them as light, sell them as heavy, as long as you disclose it. Whereas a lot of people didn't agree with me. And that's what I've done from the start. So yeah, if and when I ever knew that, I don't open enough modern product to really know. But I'm like full transparency, put the information out there personally.
Yeah, it's the only way you can do it, unfortunately.
Yep, and buy from trusted people. That's the biggest thing.
That's when I do
really...
WotC box breaks, I like selling as light and heavy. If I sell as unweighed, there can always be that question in the back of someone's mind. Did Dan skim a couple packs from this box? Because like what not unsavory person could do, and there are people who 100% do it. What a bad person could do is they could crack open a box, they could take out 4 heavies, and then they could just like say that 4 were sold separately. Like you wouldn't be able to do a stream with them. But yeah, like there are 100% people who do that, and it's an unfortunate reality. So I just take away all the questions. You get it light or you get it heavy, and that's it. I don't want the question to be there.
Also, I would say modern, I mean, I think with some sets, some of the newer sets, it's actually been proven, at least with the sleeved booster packs, that they're weighable. But I actually really don't know, and it's funny because I'm okay with doing the whole weighing thing. It's just it's strange to me. I get it with something that would be $1,000 pack, but like weighing $3 packs is kind of strange. I don't know.
It's
I was thinking the same thing.
It's sad, but like people
packs when your biggest hit card of the set is $75-$80. Oh.
6-8 years ago, people were weighing packs at Walmart. People were weighing $4 retail packs at Walmart so that all the little kids buying behind them, all the moms and grandmas buying behind them for their kids and grandkids, they were getting screwed. And yeah, the people were doing it to save a buck here, a buck there. Like it's if people can take advantage of something, they will. It's unfortunate reality.
So then there you go. Pongo just said SV packs from booster boxes were 100% accuracy in weighing. There's your warning, people. Just know that Scarlet Violet can absolutely be weighed.
Yeah,
that's all we can do. That also sucks.
I've heard those things periodically, but like I've not known the legitimacy of the source, and I don't open enough. Like I said, I've not put a scale. I put a scale to every WotC pack I open, every vintage pack, every box I open. I've not put a scale to a modern pack at all. But yeah, on that note, that's the stream for today. It's 4:32. We're 2 minutes into extra time. I will remind everyone, you can find these fine gentlemen. You can find Nick live on eBay tonight in 2.5 hours. Make sure you go bookmark the stream in the link below. And make sure you go follow Ray over on Instagram and YouTube on the links below as well. Anything else to add in closing?
Thanks for joining us, Ray. It was a pleasure.
Yep. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. And, hopefully we can have more fun sooner or later again.
Yep. Yeah, thanks for coming on, and